This video is
This video is This video is
this video
This video is
This video
This video is
This video.
This video is
This video is This video
This video
This video is
This video
This video This video is
This video
This video is This video
This video is
This video
This videos
This video is This video
This video is
This video.
This video
This video
This video is This video is
This videos This video
This video
This video.
This video is
This video This video has been sponsored
Sponsored
Sponsored.
Sponsor Sponsor
Sponsored
Sponsored Sponsor
Sponsored
Sponsored.
Sponsored
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 Sponsor
Hello and welcome to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we'll be looking at Magic Spoon. Everything in this video is paid out of pocket, so please do consider liking and subscribing. Okay then, anyway, Magic Spoon is a cereal brand that was started in 2019. It was founded by Gabby Lewis and Greg Switz, which, side note, they really butchered themselves on their own website. Their whole deal is that they make cereal in the style of popular mascot cereals, but using milk proteins and the sweetener allulose to give it a higher protein count and technically no grams of sugar. They're a big sponsorship over on TikTok and Instagram, but they've also sponsored many creators on YouTube, specifically in the cooking side of the platform, which makes them a perfect contender for today's video. Now, I will say I have enjoyed my fair amount of breakfast cereals in my youth, but I don't really eat them anymore because of, certain reasons. So I understand why someone would want to find an alternative to those cereals. Now, compared to conventional cereals, Magic Spoon prides itself on how it really supports the word free. It's gluten-free, grain-free, wheat-free, soy-free, and I would like to say pain-free if I didn't have to look at the price tag. So $10 a box is a lot of money. Now, I understand the cost of production is higher when working with ingredients that won't destroy your immune system, but $10 a box! Each one only holds about 7 ounces, which really shows these inner bags barely have anything in them. I don't know how to do with my preconditioning to eating cereal out of those big family-sized boxes, but $10. Now, speaking of these boxes, they're alright, I guess. They're derivative of that modern corporate style that's been popular for the past few years now. Even though most of them are pretty generic, I will say, some of them are really well designed. And some of them are just an eyesore. They also have these games on the back of them. Now you can be a normal person and actually do these in the correct manner, or you can do what I did and use it as a coping mechanism to release your frustration. Now, the classic lineup of Magic Spoon consists of fruity, frosted, cocoa, peanut butter, blueberry muffin, and cinnamon roll. But I was also able to pick up maple waffle, birthday cake, and honey nut off their website. However, Magic Spoon also does these limited time seasonal flavors, which unfortunately means I wasn't able to get every single one of them, but I was able to pick up pumpkin spice and frosted cookies for this review, leading to a total of $110. And I also picked up the Magic Spoon spoon and bowl, adding an extra $15 to that total. I thought the spoon was going to be cheap plastic, but I was actually shocked that it's made out of stainless steel, but I was kind of disappointed by the bowl. I thought it was going to be one of those cool glass ones you see sometimes, but it turns out just to be plastic. Anyway, let's get to the main point of this video. How does Magic Spoon actually taste? It's not that good. Yeah, I really feel like sweetener because every flavor to some degree tastes like those colorful sugar substitutes you find at restaurants. Berry reminded me of those great value or knockoff cereals you see at places like at Walmart or Aldi, where it kinda tastes like the original. Like, kind of. Frosted I thought was just gonna be Frosted Flakes, but when actually eating it, it reminded me of the company Hostess for some reason, and I do mean that in a bad way. Peanut butter on itself is okay, but when you add milk to it, it gets grosser the longer it stays in it. Cinnamon roll reminded me of those cinnamon twists from Taco Bell, but somehow more drier and even greasier. But I will give credit where credit is due. Blueberry muffin actually smells like a traditional fruited cereal. It doesn't taste like one, in fact, it doesn't taste like anything at all, but at least it smells like one. Cocoa was terrible. I'm not a big fan of chocolate in general, so I knew I wasn't gonna love this, but I didn't expect burnt rubber to be a real flavor that people would actually buy and eat. Birthday cake and sugar cookie both tasted like those really cheap frosting packets you use for cupcakes, and they did not disappoint in how bad they were to eat. Pumpkin spice had a really subtle flavor to it, but did remind me of those pumpkin spice lattes. It smells really good, but doesn't really have a strong flavor when actually eating it. Honey Nut I thought was just going to be a straight ripoff of Honey Nut Cheerios, but it actually had a more unique flavor to it, which was actually pretty decent. Maple Waffle, actually pretty good. Had this really strong syrup flavor to it that actually tasted really sweet, and not just in the stevia type of way. I actually wouldn't mind eating another bowl of this. I would definitely put this one at first, followed by Honey Nut, Pumpkin Spice, Peanut Butter, Fruity, Blueberry Muffin, Frosted, Birthday Cake, Cinnamon Roll, Sugar Cookie, and then lastly Cocoa. And that's all the flavors of Magic Spoon. Now overall, Magic Spoon wasn't the greatest experience. Yeah, Magic Spoon also has these cereal bars called Magic Spoon Treats, consisting of 2 flavors, marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. The marshmallow one isn't terrible, but continues that trend of that sticky sweetener aftertaste. For the peanut butter one, not that bad. I think it's just because of how good peanut butter and chocolate is together, it overwhelms that sweetener aftertaste. And even as someone who doesn't like chocolate, it's not a terrible option. If you don't mind spending $45 for a pack of 4. Yeah, Magic Spoon wasn't the greatest experience. Not a completely terrible one, but not worth the $175 to try it. I'll give it some merit for the high protein count, but that taste, man, it's just straight sweetener. Which I can understand that can be to some people's liking, but personally I think it ruins the experience of eating it, especially the first thing in the morning. I think if you are curious to try Magic Spoon, go for Maple Waffle and Honey Nut. Those 2 are the only ones I would consider to taste pretty good. Same with the peanut butter treats, but the rest can be skipped out on. So overall, with Magic Spoon, a couple of flavors are okay. The rest just taste like sticky sweetener. Definitely not worth the price. D tier. Now what am I going to do with all this cereal?
Hindi ka. Hindi. في glitch. تصدق في glitch.
لا هذا الحظ ربي يحبني.
Hello, and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we'll be looking at the popular Battle Royale game, Fall Guys. Even though this game is free to play, these videos are usually paid out of pocket, so please do consider liking and subscribing.
No!
Anyway, Fall Guys is an online competitive platform battle royale that was released in 2020. It was developed by London-based studio Media. What was that? What do you mean that's not the title of the video? Then what are we looking at? What the hell is Stumble Guys? Okay. Anyway, Stumble Guys is an online competitive platform battle royale that was released in 2020. Its current developer is California-based studio Scopely, which since 2023 has currently been owned by the games division of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, which is a sentence I did not expect to say today. They're a mobile game studio mostly working on licensed games, especially with Mattel, but have been really pushing Stumble Guys recently, collaborating with many content creators through their creator codes and their Stumble Partner program. The game's been getting constant updates over on Steam for quite a while now, but has finally released on Xbox, with a PlayStation port supposedly coming out in the near future. So I think this will be the perfect time to look over the game. So what's the actual Stumble Guys experience like? Alright, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. This is just a ripoff of Fall Guys, and not a really good one at that. Everything from the battle pass system to how the game starts and ends to even some of the maps are just straight out Fall Guys, but in a really weird way. I think this is best emphasized in the controls. They can be pretty stiff sometimes, especially when you're trying to move the camera. It's missing that sense of fluidity between actions that Fall Guys has. You kind of just press the jump button twice and then you can dive. You don't really feel like you're moving a character, more like guiding one along. And when you mix that in with a clunky physics system and a very dodgy hit detection, it does not lead to the best experience while trying to play through the maps. And speaking of these maps, well, they're definitely maps. Even though a majority of them are lifted out of Fall Guys, they're all shorter and are forgetting key features that made those maps interesting. I think this is best shown in Stumble Guys' version of Tiptoe, Tile Fall. With Fall Guys, each correct platform is always connected by another correct platform, so there's a level of strategy trying to find which one is the right one. But I guess Stumble Guys thought that made too much sense, so sometimes some platforms don't have to be connected or even to lead to anywhere, leading to some rounds feeling more up to chance. Even with the more faithfully recreated maps, Stumble Guys' map design struggles with the term a challenge. Some of the maps can be a real breeze when compared to their Fall Guys counterparts, feeling not fully finished because of the lack of difficulty. Even the more original levels, only 2 or 3 of them give me any moments of suspense because of the level design. I want to give a special shout out to Shark Muta Triangle for being one of the worst levels I've ever played in any game. The boat moves so slow and takes so long to sink. There have been rounds where I didn't have to move my controller and I still won. I know these types of maps aren't supposed to be too hard, and this game is aiming for a younger audience, but I felt like most of the challenge either came from the controls or dealing with other players. They also have these tournaments where you can find this game's version of in-game currency, and for the life of me, I could not find a full match for the longest time.
Make this interesting to play. I don't want to be so bored of this crap. Up, up and down. A little higher. Wait, let's try keeping it at 21.5. Well, we're still loading. Can we just play the game?
But after a little region switching, I was finally able to play a few matches, and they're just as boring as the regular game. Yeah, with over 9 hours of playtime, I got quite bored of Stumble Guys. Games are not that long, nor have the amount of variety of levels that Fall Guys has, leading to the game getting really stale, which I think overall best describes it. The whole game just feels really unfinished. Every time a round ends, everyone just floats mid-air like it's a bug they forgot to fix. And the music is terrible. There's only 2 songs in the whole game, and it's the most repetitive shit I've ever heard. And these visuals, they're not terrible, but are lacking an actual style or substance, and they just look super cheap. The whole game just gives a presence of a really cheap mobile game. Oh. You know what? I probably should have saw this coming, especially from the people who make Tiki Solitary. So yeah, Stumble Guys originally started as a mobile game, and to tell you the truth, this is a much better experience. For being on a touchscreen, the controls actually feel more responsive, and it's easier to turn off the music. It still has most of the faults of the PC and console counterparts, and I don't think I would like to play this for a very long time. But I think the simple pick up and play nature of it being on the phone somehow makes it more enjoyable for some reason. I don't know. On the PC and console side, I really want to give this an E on just how much of a pain it was to get through. But as a mobile game, it's perfectly fine, especially when you compare it to other games in its field. I'll compromise and put it in D for how derivative it just is, in both concept and execution. But in terms of mobile games we're going to have to cover in this series, my prediction is that this is probably going to be one of the better ones. Also, yes, I do know that Fall Guys has done many sponsorships on the platform. It's a pretty fun game, if you don't mind screaming your lungs off. And I will say, it can be much glitchier than Stumble Guys on occasion. It's one of the better free-to-play games out there, but still has a lot of faults that those games have. It's not a perfect game, but definitely better than Stumble Guys. C tier. Hello, and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we'll be looking at the meal delivery service, Factor. Everything out of this video was paid out of pocket, so please do consider liking and subscribing. Anyway, Factor is an online weekly meal delivery service that was started in 2013. It originally started off as an independent company as Factor 75, but since 2020 has been currently owned by the meal kit delivery service HelloFresh. which will get their own video in the near future. Compared to other meal kit services, Factor makes fresh, individually wrapped, ready-to-eat meals that don't have to be prepared. You just throw it in the microwave, heat it up for 2 minutes, and bam, you're ready to go. They're not only one of the biggest sponsorships on the platform, sponsoring a wide spectrum of creators, but also being one of the biggest advertisers on the platform, which makes them a perfect contender for today's video. They have a large section of choices that you are able to pick from that constantly updates every week, and because of that, I wasn't able to try everything, but I did my best trying to pick meals that would best represent each category that Factor has, as well as the ones I would most likely enjoy. So with all of that said, let's start eating. So I really want to get one of those box heads that a lot of YouTubers have, but I guess this will have to do for now. It smells like chicken you get from like 7-Eleven or something. It doesn't smell that good. It's not bad. I think this is green beans, asparagus. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised about this. Some of the meals were actually pretty good. Most of them didn't wow me or anything, but I thought they were pretty solid. The best meals were definitely the ones with some sort of meat and potatoes. I think it's just a classic combo that's really hard to mess up, but I do think the dishes with pork could have used some more seasoning. The meat itself was perfectly fine, at least on a cooking standpoint, but I felt like they were using sauce and potatoes just to hide the fact that the pork is just a little too bland. And speaking of seasoning, some of these dishes have a lot of garlic on them, to a point where it kind of overpowers the whole dish. I know garlic is really good for your health, but it felt like they were just using it to compensate for a lack of unique flavors. Some other spices and herbs would have gone a long way. Now, I didn't think every meal I got was that great. Some of the meals were kind of bland. An example would be the Mexican style dishes. I knew they weren't going to be as flavorful as something you get at a real Mexican restaurant, but the taste seemed very thrown together. I don't know, it's missing that Mexican style flavor. Factor also falls victim to the trend that most restaurant and food companies do, where the food looks much better in the marketing than it does in real life. All the meals were edible, but some of the meals did not look that appetizing, and I was a little shocked by the differences by the marketing material. I don't know, it just kind of felt a little scummy, I guess. But with most of these meals, they're pretty alright. Nothing fancy, but they were solid options, I guess. However, if you're trying to find something that's a little bit more class, Factor also has these Gourmet Plus options that you have to pay a little extra for. And out of the two I got, it was a little bit of a mixed bag. The filet mignon was delicious. The potatoes were creamy, the carrots were really well done. I actually ate the whole thing really quickly. Definitely the best meal I got from Factor. The fish, on the other hand, wasn't bad, but definitely on the bland side of things. Felt like they just took one of the regular meals and put some peppers on top of it and added an extra price tag, which is saying something with how expensive the regular meals already are. The biggest problem with Factor is the price. Depending on the meal plan you get, each meal can cost as much as $13 or a little more than $10 if you get the 18 meal plan, which even at that price is kind of stretching it a little bit. These plastic trays barely have anything in them. I know everyone's appetite size is different, but for what you're paying for, the quantity of food you're getting is just too small. And with Factor targeting people in the workout scene, I could definitely see someone probably gonna need more than just that. And with some of these meals probably not that hard or expensive to recreate, definitely makes it feel like some of these meals aren't really worth that price tag. They also have a large variety of add-ons, ranging from smoothies, lattes to dessert options, to just straight chicken breasts, I guess, and some other interesting options which I really wanted to try out, but were either out of stock or just not worth the price. But I did get their pancakes and sausage, as well as their calorie smart sampler. The pancakes and sausage were alright, I guess. I knew they weren't going to be super sweet, but they were definitely not the best gluten-free pancakes I've ever had. The sausage was fine though. And this smart sampler mostly consists of these juices and wellness shots. The apple wheatgrass was actually pretty good, but it was kind of just straight apple juice with a tiny bit of wheatgrass. The other two were just traditional vegetable juice you can get from a regular juicer. Not bad or anything, but they didn't feel like it was worth the price. But these wellness shots, on the other hand, they mostly consist of ginger, and I'll just say I did not feel that well while actually drinking them. Oh! Oh. Oh. Oh, that's strong. Oh, you just tasted ginger. Oh, God. Bottoms up. Oh, God. So, yeah, besides that, Factor overall is not that bad. I think out of the meals I had, this is how I'd rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Some really good, some not so good, but a majority of them pretty decent. I do think Factor is better than the average microwave meal, and even better than the majority of fast food restaurants, but it's still behind what you can get from a locally owned restaurant, and way behind cooking your own meals at home. It's comparable to those pre-packaged meals you can get at some grocery stores. I think I would recommend Factor to people who are really, and I mean really, caught up in their work, to a point where they're so caught up in trying to make some extra cash that they have no time whatsoever for cooking, but also have so much extra cash on hand that they don't mind wasting it on smaller portion meals. High C tier. Hello, and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we're going to be looking at the metal poster brand Displates. These videos are usually fan-funded and are not sponsored at all, so please do consider liking and subscribing. Anyway, Displates is a metal poster brand that was started in 2013. Instead of making posters out of traditional materials like paper or canvas, they press their posters onto metal sheets that can magnetically connect to your walls. They've been a constant sponsor for a few years now, especially in the gaming side of the platform, which makes them a perfect contender for today's video. Now, I've had many posters throughout my life, and I will say they can be quite a hassle to set up. Coming from experience, finding a high quality poster out of the flood of cheap prints out there can definitely be a challenge, not to mention the pain of finding a decent and affordable frame. For example, where I'm editing this video right now, I have this Bob Dylan poster that is just being held up by tape, so I could definitely see the appeal of Displates. They have millions of poster designs, from officially licensed ones like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, to even straight hell, as well as an endless amount of creator-made posters. And because of this large amount, it made it really hard to decide what posters I should review, so I decided to let my community pick out what posters I should get, including my lovely supporters over on Patreon and Ko-fi. Thanks, guys. So let's see what my lovely audience picked for me. So Displates comes in 3 different poster sizes, including a medium, a large, as well as an extra large option composing of 4 medium-sized posters. The print quality is actually really good. I did notice a little bit of noise in the larger posters, but I do think that has to do more with the quality of the source image rather than the printing itself. But I was expecting the steel plates to be a little stronger. It's quite easy to bend, which could lead to some easily made dents. And this extra large size is really underwhelming. You can see the gaps between each poster, which takes away from the artwork, and for certain posters it kind of ruins them, especially ones with text. Now, setting up Displates is a very simple process. You just wipe down your wall with the included wipes, add the protective leaf, add the magnet, and bam, you're good to go. The process is overall pretty simple, and it is cool to be able to easily switch out posters, but when doing research for this video, apparently these magnets come off really easily. Personally, it hasn't happened to me just yet, but just looking at these magnets, I could see how the side that sticks to the leaf could fade or dry away, but because it's just normal stick abrasive, you could possibly put this to any flat surface you want. Displates also allows options to be added to your poster, including frames and gloss finishes. The gloss finish is actually pretty good. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but at certain angles it leaves a nice touch on the poster, which is the exact opposite I could say about the frame. This frame is garbage. I thought they were going to put a real frame over this plate, but it's just a fake wooden texture which crops off the sides of the artwork, leading to certain parts being covered up. Definitely not worth the extra price tag. Also, when I was writing the script for this video, Displates released a new poster line called Textra. Basically, it gives texture to certain parts of the poster. I would have gone one if I didn't waste all my money on a $165 gaming poster that was made in Photoshop, which leads to two issues I have with Displates. The first would have to be the price. For the size of these posters, they're way too overpriced. For how much a large is, you could probably find a high quality paper version and get yourself a real frame. Yeah, the installation could be longer and even be a little more tedious, but you could be saving a lot more on a poster that could even be bigger than a Displate. I think Displates themselves know how overpriced their products are because of the never-ending amount of discount sales on their website. When doing research for this video, there was always some sort of seasonal discount going on, giving the impression that it was a limited time deal, even though some of these deals were only a few days apart. And with a large amount of coupon and sponsor codes out there, really questions the legitimacy of the normal price tag. The second issue I have with Displates is that, oh my god, there's so much junk on this website! For every good poster design, there's about 100 or so AI generated or inspirational quote posters that overfloods the entire website. A lot of the posters consist of stolen artwork that has some sort of Photoshop effect on them, or even just a generic poster you can find on any other website. There are officially licensed posters that are of a much higher quality, most of the time, but they only make a small percentage of the whole website, and if you really want to find a high quality original poster, you have to go through a lot of posters like these. They also offer Displate Club, their monthly subscription service that gives you extra bonuses like free shipping, exclusive sleeves, early access to limited edition posters, which for some reason isn't just a normal subscription service, but rather calculated by your first shipping order, so the price can be dramatically different. But the main selling point in my opinion of Displate Club is the ability to upload and create your own Displate, and this should just be a normal feature for any user to have. The ability to upload and create your own custom poster is a really cool feature that would be a better selling point for Displates. Even if it was behind an extra fee, it's still better having it behind a lackluster subscription service. They also have these monthly special variant posters with their limited edition plates and their Luminos lineup. Some of the designs for the normal limited edition posters are great, but I wouldn't say they're really worth that extra price tag. But the Lumino posters were kind of interesting. They have an OLED panel behind the artwork that brightens up certain pieces of the poster. It looked really intriguing, and I was planning to pick up one. And then I realized it's just a medium-sized poster that lights up sometimes, and it costs $300. No. So yeah, I'm a little conflicted on Displates. The posters themselves are really solid, and there are some legitimately great designs out there, but the site is just too overrun with junk. I think if they were just less lenient on their content sales tactics and just lower the price point of their posters, I think Displates would be one of the better sponsored products out there. I would say the posters themselves would probably be in high B tier, but the mix of overpricing and the use of fear of missing out practices, as well as the lack of quality control on their website, really does bring down Displates. High C tier. I guess I just own these now. Welp. Hello, and welcome to Just Another Tier List, a new series where we cover a large variety of topics and subjects and rank them on a tier list. Today we're going to be ranking every flavor of the sparkling water brand LaCroix. Now I want to give a big disclaimer before I start this video. I really like LaCroix. I've been pretty much addicted to them for a few years now, in particular the classic variety pack, but there are some flavors I've just flat out have never had before, so I thought it would be kind of fun to try each one and rank them all. Even though this video is titled Every LaCroix Flavor, there were some flavors that were either discontinued or just nearly impossible to find. But I was able to find a majority of the flavors, leading to a total of 27 unique flavors. And with all that said, let's start tasting these drinks. This was every possible flavor I could find. I can't see. Oh my god, this is gonna be awful to edit. Well, after 6 trips to the bathroom and almost puking my guts out, in no particular order, this is how to rank each LaCroix flavor. Starting off with LaCroix's plain flavor, fittingly called Pure. For just being plain sparkling water, I don't care for this one that much. Even with the lack of flavor, it just tastes odd when drinking it, like it's too carbonated, and besides how it tastes, I just think there are better options for plain sparkling water out there. I would probably put this in D tier. Just something about it doesn't feel right when drinking it. I thought the Raz Cranberry, Peach Pear, Orange, Guava, and Mango flavors were all pretty solid options. They do a good job tasting like the fruits they're based off, but I wouldn't say they're anything too wild. The Raz Cranberry and the Peach Pear are the closest to being B tier, but I think they're all C tier. Good flavors, but none of them that interesting. In my personal experience, berry sparkling water can be hit or miss sometimes, but the 2 berry flavors are actually really good. Probably 2 of the more accurate flavors in terms of recreating the fruit. A little too sweet to be completely refreshing, but still really good options. I would probably put both of them in B tier. Very close to being great, but nowhere as close as being as delicious as the lemon flavor is. Now, this is an amazing flavor, one of the best refreshing LaCroix out of the pack, and the one I've probably had the second most of. It tastes a little similar like lemon sodas, but not as overbearingly sweet, but it can be a little light on lemon flavor, but still one of the best LaCroix flavors, a very high A tier. But even the lemon flavor cannot even hold a candle to LaCroix's highest achievement, which is the lime flavor. Now, this is a perfect flavor. Out of all the sparkling water brands and flavors out there, this is my absolute favorite. It's really hard for me to describe why I love this drink so much, but there's a reason why it's covering most of my studio. Extremely refreshing, extremely tasteful, and absolutely delicious. Stomach bloating be damn. S tier, and in my opinion, LaCroix's best flavor. Key lime is terrible. How is it possible to make a variant of your best flavor and somehow turn it into your worst flavor? I know key lime is a really popular ingredient to make drinks out of, but why would you make a drink based off key lime pie? It tastes oddly creamy with a slight sourness to it, and not in a good way. My throat feels so bad after drinking this. I can only put it in F tier, and in my opinion, LaCroix's worst flavor. The Pustic flavor is LaCroix's attempt at the watermelon flavor, and even with it being quite refreshing, it doesn't do a good job at recreating a watermelon flavor, so it kind of just tastes like a generic fruit flavor. I'll say high C tier, a really good drink, but not really a unique one. Now, I'm not a big fan of coconut in general, so I was a little shocked at how much I really like the coconut flavor. It definitely tastes like coconut, but it doesn't overwhelm the entire drink to a point where it ruins it, which is a problem that a lot of coconut products have. It has the right amount of sweetness without becoming too creamy like the key lime, leading to a really pleasant experience. This one surprised me a lot, would definitely drink it again. High B tier. I was also a little surprised with the hibiscus. For me, it tasted more like fruit punch, faintly like Capri Sun or Kool-Aid, but I would say it is pretty strong on the refreshing side of things. Another solid B tier, and to continue that streak of B tiers, I would also put the beach plum in this tier as well. This is probably the best recreation of a fruit. You can really taste the plum flavor in this. It's a pretty great flavor, but it's something I wouldn't have with every occasion like the lime flavor can be. It can be a little too sweet for some occasions, but still a great flavor. This is the closest thing to being an A tier. Apricot is a really interesting choice to make a flavor out of, being more of a fleshy fruit, so I guess LaCroix decided to make a bold choice by making it not taste that good. When you first take a sip of this drink, it has a really bitter taste to it that's really unpleasant, and then it quickly fizzles away and then has absolutely no flavor to it, like it's another version of the pure flavor. It's definitely the one that tastes the most artificial out of the whole bunch, and just overall a poor experience. I would say E tier, because at least it's only unpleasant for a brief window of time, which I cannot say about the tangerine flavor. This one is horrendous. It continues that trend of the key lime where it's way too creamy for some reason, and it just has this awful aftertaste that's really hard to get out of your mouth. Just a horrible flavor all around. This one's also an F tier, not as bad as the key lime, but still completely unpleasant. I've never had a real passion fruit before, but I actually really love the LaCroix flavor. Great blend between sweet and savory with a nice sharpy fruity aftertaste. This one is an A tier, but I would say the Pamplemousse does an even better job. Now this is another goated flavor, less citrus than the lime flavor, so it's a nice contrast to it. I don't even like real Pamplemousse that much, but this is another S tier flavor, and this will always be my second choice after the lime flavor. I've never had a real mojito in my life, so I will admit I'm probably not the most qualified to rank this, but it's okay-ish. There's an initial burst of mint flavor, but that quickly fades away, and it begins to taste more like plain sparkling water. But I will say, I kind of like it more than the pure flavor. It probably has my favorite can design out of all of them, but the fading flavor kind of brings it down a lot. A very low C tier. So most LaCroix come in the traditional 12-ounce aluminum can, but LaCroix also has these other flavors that come in these taller cans, and are usually a blend of two flavors. The cerise lime is pretty alright. It has a really overwhelming cherry flavor to it, which even being pretty impactful, isn't the most appealing to have in every occasion. Not bad or anything, but has the reverse issue that some other flavors have, with being a little too weak on the flavor. This one is a little too strong. C tier. But I really like the apple grape and the pineapple strawberry. They do a better job than the Ceres lime in balancing each of the two flavors, and another pair of really refreshing drinks. A solid B tier. But I would say the cucumber and blackberry flavor is a D tier. Way too much cucumber than blackberry flavor, to a point where it kind of overpowers the entire drink. It's more tolerable than some of the worst flavors, but definitely the worst blend flavor. The last one of these taller cans I got was the La Cola flavor, LaCroix's only attempt at recreating a soda with a cola flavor, and it's not that good. It tastes exactly like those zero sugar colas you can get at some grocery stores, with that really strong artificial sugar flavor to it, and it's not that good to drink. Also, I think there's another LaCroix that does a much better job at recreating the taste of cola, and that would have to be the cherry blossom flavor. That tastes much better than the cola. That tastes like cola, actually. This tastes more like the cola flavor. I think this is it. If I was given the choice between these two, this one tastes more like cola than this one. It's not a particularly great drink, but it does a much better job like tasting like a real cola. I would put Cherry Blossom in C tier and La Cola at D tier. And finally, we have the Limoncello, LaCroix's attempt at recreating an Italian lemon liqueur. And it tastes awful! It's so bad. I know this flavor, for some reason, has a really big fan base, but this tastes disgusting! Why do they keep trying to make a cream flavor of LaCroix? It just doesn't work! It tastes like Peeps. It's like a liquid version of the Peeps. It's a liquid version of Peeps. It's so bad. Why would you drink this? Fucking F tier. Fuck these crap. This is the shit. And that's pretty much the entire list. Looking at it completely, there's a few terrific flavors, a few horrific flavors, but most of them just pretty alright. Most of them are pretty solid, but definitely not the most unique drinks on the market, which still isn't going to stop me from drinking them anytime soon. If you want to express how angry you are that I put your favorite flavor in F tier, I have the tier list linked in the description below, and if there's any other sparkling water brand you want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. But I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you another time. Also, I was planning to combine all the flavors together to see how it tastes, but it didn't really turn out that well.
Cheers. Welp!
Hello, and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we're going to be looking at the water bottle company, AirUp. These videos are not sponsored at all, so it would mean a lot if you consider liking and subscribing. Well, I also have a Patreon that you can financially support, featuring some very cool perks like behind the scenes photos, bloopers, updates and polls for future videos. Okay, I get your point. Anyway, AirUp is a German company that was started in 2019. It was founded by Lena Unz and Tim Jager, who were inspired to create the company after reading Gordon Shepard's book on neurogas astronomy. Despite what some of their marketing material may tell you, they produce water bottles which use these flare pods to add flavor to your water through the power of smell, leading to all the taste of sugary drinks without any of the unhealthy side effects. They've been a pretty active sponsor, promoting their water bottles in different corners of the platform, from the commentary community to popular gaming personalities to even some of the biggest names on the platform, which makes them the perfect contender for today's video. Now, I've used a few different water bottle brands in my life, but I've always gravitated towards the brand Contigo, in particular their chilled lineup, but AirUp intrigues me a lot. As someone who's expressed their love for flavored drinks in the past, AirUp definitely piques my curiosity. Using smell to convey taste sounds straight out of a sci-fi film, so conceptually it sounds really cool, so let's see if AirUp can actually deliver on that concept. Now, AirUp has 3 different types of water bottles you can choose from. We got the classic bottle, which depending on its size, starts at $40, the steel bottle, which starts at $60, and the Gen 2 bottle, which starts off at $45 for its lowest size. Which the only real difference between the classic model and the Gen 2 model is that the drinking angle is removable and it's slightly easier to taste the pods. I got the Go Family Bundle, which includes a classic and steel bottle for a discount, and when you buy the bottles individually, they do come with a free pack of pods, but that still doesn't hide the fact that these bottles are quite overpriced. For how much it cost, I was expecting a higher premium feel. You can see the lines of the plastic is binded together, and the bottle feels overall cheap. Now, on the visually aesthetic side of things, the look of the bottle is alright, I guess. The color choices of the original bottle remind me of the Game Boy Color lineup, and the bent drinking angle is definitely unique, but it does make it weird to use for the first time, and it's not the easiest to fill with water because of it. I understand it's to make sure you be able to smell the pods correctly, but it takes a little time getting used to, and it's just not as convenient as just having a normal flat top head. The best looking bottle out of all 3 of them is definitely the steel one, especially the black color. The neon black actually looks really cool, but I'm not a fan of the cheap plastic middle piece. It distracts from the overall look of the bottle, and the bottle itself is not worth the $65 for the 28-ounce version. Now, in Europe, they have a vast selection of flavors with some more intriguing choices, but as I'm recording this right now, AirUp only has 13 flavors available in the US, those being watermelon, apple, cherry, peach lemon, strawberry lemongrass, raspberry lemon, orange vanilla, wild berry, mango passion fruit, orangeade, iced tea peach, and cherry cola, which all come in these small white bags that contain 3 pods in them, which gives you about 4 gallons between all 3 pods. They range in price from $8 to $13 for specialty flavors, which is $8 is already stretching it a bit, but I think $13 is just not worth that price tag. There's only a white cloth inside the pod, so I'm really doubtful that it takes an extra $5 to add some extra drops of flavor. And with the water bottles already being overpriced compared to other companies' offerings, already makes it feel like AirUp is a little bit of a ripoff. But let's give AirUp the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's actually worth that extra price tag. The only thing that really matters is how does it actually taste. What do you think? So yeah, AirUp is not that good. In fact, it's pretty disgusting. Drinking it with the flavor pods activated, the flavor changing gimmick sorta works. Since you are smelling it, the flavor does hit the top of your mouth and a little bit of the back of your throat, but it has no effect on your taste buds, so the tongue doesn't taste anything besides the water, leading to a really weird feeling that only half your mouth is actually tasting something, and that something usually tastes disgusting. I would say about a quarter of the flavors taste of artificial fruit flavoring that's used in gum, in particular Trident gum, but without any of the sweetness or anything near pleasurable to enjoy. The apple pods smell like the green parts of those caramel apple candies, but when drinking it, there's no flavor besides a weird artificial aroma. The peach one also tastes like artificial gum, but with one of the worst bitter aftertastes I've ever experienced while drinking water. Same with the peach iced tea, tastes more like plain black iced tea rather than sweetened iced tea. The orange vanilla swirl smells like lemon cake that's about to mold, which is reflected when drinking it. Initially, it tastes like cake bread, and then it becomes awfully sour. The cherry cola flavor, for some reason, smells like a blend of syrup that's used to make Coca-Cola and Big Red gum. But when actually drinking it, it has a complete opposite effect to that. There's no flavor to it whatsoever. I heard horror stories about how terrible the watermelon flavor is, but I didn't think it was overall that bad. But it did taste more like the white part of watermelon near the skin rather than the red flesh. But if we want to talk about horror stories, then the raspberry lemon is a nightmare. Oh, whoa. That is not good. Legitimately one of the worst flavors out of any lineup of drinks I've ever had. The best one out of all the pods was definitely the Orangeade. It's the one that tastes the most accurate with an orange juice flavor, but the flavor is so faint, it feels like it's been watered down, which to be fair, it technically is. Even if you use the AirUp bottle without the flavor pods, there's a lot of shortcomings that start to appear after using it for a length of time. Because the bottle is at an angle, the straw has to be bent accordingly, and combine that with having to go through an Orange River part and the flavor pod at the same time, makes it really hard to get a steady line of water without really sucking it down. And because you have to remove the Orange River part for cleaning purposes, the tab where you pull it from starts to form a small gap, causing water to spill out of it. It's not as bad on the Gen 2 or steel bottles, but still really annoying and a big design flaw that was completely overlooked. Plus, in the case of the Gen 2 bottle, false advertising. Also, the orange tip that you drink out of makes it feel like you're drinking out of a children's sippy cup and not something that costs over $40. Just a really poorly designed water bottle. Now, I want to say something before I make this next point. Just another paid promotion is not meant to harass or deter creators from taking sponsorships. Creators I've used footage of in the past are usually people I have a lot of respect for, to even some of my personal favorites. So I hope this doesn't come off as rude in saying, it's strange that a lot of commentary and even more cynical YouTubers are taking AirUp sponsorships. This is the first time in the series where I legitimately question the honesty of these creators when trying to sell one of these products. I know solely relying on YouTube ad revenue is financially unstable, and if any of these creators actually like AirUp, they have the complete right to. But I think this is the biggest disconnect from a creator selling a product and their actual content, especially the commentary channels. With the poor quality and the overpricing of AirUp, It feels like one of these channels would actually make fun of AirUp in one of their videos, right alongside a review of the most random bad movie or a video about the latest dumb drama on the internet. But instead, they're being financially supported by it, which there's nothing wrong with, but after using AirUp, just feels like tonal whiplash. Also, this is a little bit of a side note, but I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to talk about this again. When doing research about the company Fume for another video, Oompaville in one of his sponsor segments from the company said that Fume told him that he had to say he was skeptical of the product at first. So I wouldn't be surprised that AirUp requires that phrase to be said too, because it's something that's said throughout a lot of AirUp ad reads and even some other sponsored products. Probably just a tactic to convince people to buy the product, but it's still a really dishonest move. Thankfully, however, AirUp is the only water bottle brand that has sponsored YouTubers. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Circle is a Florida-based company that was founded by Garrett Wagoner and Andy Gay. It actually predates AirUp's inception, starting in 2015, and also differing from AirUp, this one actually flavors your water. It uses these cartridges which disperse liquid flavoring into your water while drinking it, so it actually adds something to your water instead of just tricking your brain. Now, Circle isn't as big of a sponsor that AirUp is, but they have dipped their toes in the paid promotion realm, sponsoring the Beast himself, so they have spread their name on the platform. They have a little bit more variety of water bottle sizes. I got their classic 32-ounce bottle and their steel bottle, which aren't the highest quality. Their bottles feel like those cheap generic bottles you can get from any other website, but at least they're not as horribly overpriced. Still not fully worth it. In fact, the steel bottle is a little too overpriced, but it's still better than AirUp's prices. But man, these lids are crap. They're made out of this really cheap rubber plastic that's so poor quality and weak. Feels like they could break any second. And I also got their squeeze bottle because I really need something to express my anger. Another contrast from AirUp is the amount of flavors they offer. With AirUp only having 13 pods, Circle has hundreds of flavor cartridges from their 15 different lineups, so I wasn't able to try every flavor, but I did buy one from each lineup that would best match AirUp's flavors, as well as some more interesting choices to try out. Now, I won't go into too much detail like I did for AirUp's flavors, but I will say, overall, the cartridges actually taste like what they say they are and not just watered down gum. The best cartridges were definitely the fruit flavored ones and the electrolyte ones, the latter tasting exactly like powdered Gatorade and the former being more similar to those liquid water enhancers from companies like Mio or Kool-Aid. Some of the flavored cartridges do use sugar substitutes like stevia, which if you know anything about this channel, I'm not a big fan of, but I know they have a big fan base. But there are some stinkers. Most of the oddball options like the horchata and the caramel frost latte, these flavors are surprisingly sour and the recreations are so poorly done, just really off-putting to drink. But overall with Circle, it's not necessarily the worst experience, but it's one that's not unique. You can buy those liquid enhancers or powders and get the same effect, and they're usually cheaper or at least the same price as Circle's cartridges. There's just nothing about Circle that's worth experiencing that you can't find with those alternatives with a normal water bottle. Just nothing special that's worth the extra purchase. And that's pretty much AirUp and Circle. And out of the two options, AirUp is definitely the worst one. Overpriced and poorly designed bottles, disgustingly artificial flavors, and a gimmick that only half works leads to one of the most appalling experiences I've ever had while drinking normal water. I don't think using smell to substitute flavor is necessarily a bad idea. Neurogas astronomy is definitely an interesting science that should be explored more, but AirUp does a bad job showcasing its potential and reveals some major shortcomings with the science. And as for Circle, it's not good, but more generic than terrible. It's just low quality bottles with a flavor lineup that doesn't differ enough from its competition. If you really need to flavor your water, I would just say mix some lemon or cucumber water, just like the ones at hotels. And if that doesn't cut it out, dude, it's just water. Unless it's not properly filtered, it's not gonna taste that bad. You're mostly made up of water anyway, so drinking a normal glass of water is probably not gonna kill you. In fact, it'll probably do the exact opposite effect. Now, how to rank these two brands? There's a part of me that really wants to put AirUp in F tier, but it's not a flat-out scam like established titles is. It does what it says, but it does a horrible job at it.
I would say D tier for Circle and a low E tier for AirUp. Well, since the video is basically over, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with all these extra flavors. That'll do well. Hello and welcome back to Just Another Tier List, where we cover a large variety of topics and subjects and rank them on a tier list. Today we're going to be ranking one of the most patriotic soda brands of all time. Jarritos! Jarritos is a Mexican soda brand that was started in 1950. It was started by chemist Don Francisco, but is currently owned and manufactured by the Novamex Corporation, who are also responsible for the production of Stias and C2O coconut water. They're one of the most popular soda brands in Latin America with their 13 different flavors, which are a staple in prominently large Hispanic communities across the upper Western Hemisphere. If you've been to any authentic Mexican restaurant, chances are you've seen a few of their flavors, usually in those big commercial-sized Coca-Cola refrigerators, which was actually my first experience with them. I always thought they were slightly better than most big soda companies' fruit flavor offerings, but it's been quite a while since I've had one, and there's a few flavors I just never had before. So as an English-speaking Caucasian who accidentally mixed up tamarind for horchata in one of his videos, I think I have the right qualifications to be able to do this tier list. This is the fruit punch flavor. This is probably the most popular flavor, or at least one of them. I've had it a few times, but it's not necessarily my favorite flavor out there. Love Red 40, man. Gotta love it. Cheers. That's the first burp of the day. It's not bad at all. It's fine. It's definitely not horrible. Like, this is drinkable. It's good, but it's not like gray or anything. It definitely tastes like fruit punch, but it's not really the most unique fruit punch I've ever had. It's a little too generic in my opinion. It's fine, but I would say a high C tier. It's not something I would always get. I'm actually a big fan of grapefruit sodas. I have a lot of nostalgia towards Squirt in particular. Whoa, dude, it's like sideways. Whoa. Oh, it's got my fingers. It definitely looks like, a certain substance, I'll say. Very tangy. Ooh. That is very strong, I'll say that. It's okay. It's definitely drinkable. I kind of still prefer Squirt. Ooh. Oh, it's not that good. It has a really, really bitter aftertaste. I will say I do like the bottle a lot. It's probably my favorite one out of all of them. But the flavor is just really potent, I guess. It's not bad, but the flavor's just too overwhelming. I would say a high D tier. Now, a flavor I'm very acquainted with is the strawberry flavor. Back in high school, this was actually one of my favorite drinks, but drinking it for the first time in a couple years, it's kind of lost some of its magic. Maybe it has to do with my taste buds developing and drinking way less soda, but it's a little too sweet for my taste now. And it also falls into a similar fashion as the fruit punch flavor does, with not being the most unique drink when compared to its competitors, which, to be fair, you could consider that a positive because it doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup like its competition does. I would say a C tier, which I would also put the watermelon flavor in. I do think it is stronger than the strawberry flavor, and it's more evocative of Ramune, in particular the melon flavor, but nowhere near as good. A perfectly fine drink, but continues some of the same issues with the other Jarritos. It's just not the best thing out there. Another flavor I haven't had for quite some time is the mandarin flavor, which when I think of Jarritos, this flavor always comes to mind first. But I'm not a huge fan of orange soda in general. Sorry guys. So I don't really have high hopes for this one. That's good. That's delicious. That is really good. That's delicious. That is really good. I don't like orange soda that much, but that's an S tier flavor. That's a damn good flavor. This is good. S tier.
That was surprisingly excellent, so I'm hoping the lime flavor is going to be as good as the mandarin flavor. Lemon lime is probably my favorite soda flavor, but I will say the Jarritos flavor looks more like another citrus soda.
That looks just like Mountain Dew. I was expecting more of a Sprite flavor. Very unique. Not that strong of a flavor, but definitely a unique flavor. It's kind of like if you made Gatorade a flavor, like lemon lime Gatorade. Not necessarily a bad flavor. I would say high C tier. A little better than the fruit punch flavor, but it's not that great. Still decent though. Shit.
I have some high expectations for the pineapple flavor. I flat out love plain pineapple juice, as well as pina coladas, but I was a little let down by the Jarritos flavor. There's actually a really good flavor in here, it's just that it's way too subtle and it's kind of watered out.
It is good. It is really good, but it kind of becomes too weak. I would say probably a high C tier, but it's really close to being into B tier.
Yeah, the pineapple flavor was a little bit disappointing, but I'm still excited to try out the mango flavor. Real mango is such a delicious and delightful fruit to eat, so I think the Jarritos flavor has a chance of redeeming some of that disappointment.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This is not that good. That's bad, man. That's not good. It tastes like what they put in your mouth at the dentist's office to like numb it. Like when you're a kid and you get like an option to like pick what you want your filling to taste like. It tastes exactly like that. Like if you get a mango one, I have no idea why would they make that a drink. That's pretty bad. That is a bad flavor. That is not that good to drink. Not necessarily a terrible one. Like it's not awful to drink, but it's pretty bad, man. Definitely an E tier.
I also like to add the passion fruit into E tier as well. It's just not that sweet like some other passion fruit flavors are. This soda has an oddly sharp texture to it that overwhelms the sweet flavor it's going for, leading to quite an unpleasant experience while drinking. Now, as for the guava flavor, I think real guava juice is a great ingredient, but by itself, it's not my favorite juice, but I am interested to taste it in a soda form.
That's really bitter. That's a pretty bitter drink. Tastes like guava. Very much like guava. It's not bad-ish. I think it's more accurate than anything. On the one hand, I kind of like it more than something like the watermelon flavor, where this one's kind of a little too weak and inaccurate. This one is very strong, and it definitely tastes like guava juice. But on the other hand, it's kind of too bitter to enjoy with every occasion. It's just too bitter in my opinion. I would say a C tier.
I don't think, or at least remember trying out tamarind juice before, which if you don't know, is a fruit that comes from a tree that's native from Africa. So it'll be interesting to try it out in a soda form.
Cheers. Oh God, is that real tamarind? That better not. That's awful. F tier, man. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know what was worse, the off-putting sourness it has, or having that sourness in bubble form. But this was pretty wretched. This was the worst flavor out of all of them. I'm still open to trying out real tamarind, but if it's anything like the Jarritos flavor, I'm probably not gonna like it that much. The next flavor is probably the most standard soda that Jarritos produces, being a cola flavor, more specifically a Mexican cola. It's one of the more sweeter colas out there, tasting more like a kid's soda, but I actually really like it. But by no fault of its own, I don't think I would really pick this drink that much.
This is actually a really good cola flavor. It's just that out of all the places you can get this, you can usually get real Mexican Coca-Cola, and out of the two options, why would you ever pick this over the best flavor of Coke? B tier. It's good. It's solid.
Now, the only flavor I wasn't able to find for this review was the Hey, this is editing in McGillicuddy here. I accidentally called this drink Jamaica, like the country. but it's more pronounced Jamaica. They're spelled the exact same way, so I guess I just got confused. And if I said anything else wrong in this video, I'm so sorry. It's actually one of the more beloved flavors, but I could not find it anywhere. There's a chance they don't manufacture it anymore, at least in the United States. It's not featured on their website besides some old links, and I could not find it in any store. The only place where I can find it was in an old party pack from a third-party retailer in Walmart for like $60, which even though there was a part of me that would have made that purchase, I didn't want to waste the time, money, and extra drinks for a flavor I know I'm probably not gonna like. I might make some people very upset with this, but I'm sorry. I'm not a huge fan of Jamaica. I've had it many times, and I just don't care for it. It's a bit bitter for my taste. Not the worst thing I've ever had. It's just something that doesn't hit my palate that well. It's quite literally just not my cup of tea. They also have the Jarritos, which is their spiked lineup, featuring 4 of their iconic flavors infused with alcohol. I can't legally drink this yet, sorry guys. But Jarritos also has Mineragua, their sparkling water branch, and if you've seen the first episode of the series, you know how much I love sparkling water. So I'm excited to see how Jarritos will make a unique twist on sparkling water.
That's just club soda. That's just good old-fashioned club soda. There's like nothing to it. It's good. It's just club soda. That's all I can say. If you like club soda, it's good. You don't, you're not gonna like it. Like, there's nothing to it. It's good. I like club soda. It's great for cocktails. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I would say A tier, but it's just club soda. You can put a club soda on the tier list and it'll be the exact same thing. Good. I like it. Nothing original about it.
Now that was all the Jarritos I was able to get, but that doesn't mean we're quite done yet. Novamex also distributes 2 other well-known Mexican drinks, those being Sangria Señorial and Señor Manglet, which are included with some Jarritos bundles, so I thought I would rank them a part of this tier list as well. Señorial is a non-alcoholic version of the popular wine punch Sangria. Now I've never had real Sangria, so I'm probably not the best person to review this, but just drinking it by its own merits, this is one of the most intriguing drinks I've ever had. It has a noticeable dry grape flavor to it, but it's also made with caramel, giving the liquid and thick texture, making it taste almost creamy. It's pretty potent, and it's kind of an acquired taste, but I kind of like it. It's not something I would have with every occasion, but it's one of the most unique sodas I've ever had. In fact, calling it soda is kind of the wrong word for it. I would say a high C tier, but I actually wouldn't mind trying this again. I'm horribly sorry if I mispronounced his name, but Señor Manglet is a prolific apple soda that was started in 1902. Now, I love apple cider, notably it's made by Martinelli's, so I was excited to try this one out. However, when taking my first sip, it definitely tastes like apple cider, kind of.
It's very similar to apple cider, but it's a little too watered down for my taste. It's still good, it's just that compared to real apple cider, I would always pick that over this. It's good, like a high C tier, maybe a low B tier. Just compared to real apple cider, it's not as good.
They also have a green apple variant, which is actually really hard to find, at least where I live. So I had to Instacart a 2-liter plastic bottle that cost me over $10 to do. So I decided to make this drinking experience a little more special.
So to make this special, I thought I would drink this out of the most culturally accurate Mexican style glass I have. A Guinness pint.
This dickhead's gonna split the G. Ready?
Cheers. Oh god, it's hard. Again. Oh, that's 2. That was interesting. I didn't even taste it. Whoa, that was strong. That was an experience, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a little too sweet for my liking, but still a really good drink. I would say a low B tier, maybe a high C tier, but I definitely liked it. They also have some other flavors, however, they don't sell these in the US, so I might have to make a part 2 of this episode, ranking those, the Jarritos flavor I forgot, and maybe some other Mexican sodas. Let me know. And that's every flavor I was able to rank, and overall, most of them are fine. Not the most extraordinary flavor lineup, and there's not a lot of standouts, but the Mandaragua and the Mandarin flavors are great, and have definitely become some personal favorites of mine. I will say, the drinks are on the cheaper side of things, selling usually between $1 and $2, so it makes sense why they're similar to some cheaper brands, and I actually like them better than some other companies like Fanta. You can actually tell what they're trying to recreate, and it's not too artificial in my opinion. However, I don't think I'll be drinking that much Jarritos. Besides doing this series, I don't really drink that much soda, at least compared to the large amounts I used to consume. But if there's a foreign soda brand that you want me to see, or even more of a domestic brand, let me know in the comments below. And I also have the tier list in the link description. But I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you another time. They also make NFTs. Hello and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we're going to be looking at the essential oil infuser. These videos are not sponsored, so it would mean a lot if you consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. Hey, is that smoke? Oh gosh! Damn it, dogs! Is a Canadian company that was started in 2018. The best way to describe what Fume is that it's basically an inhaler designed to use these flavor cores, which add flavor while inhaling air through the fume. It's designed and marketed as a replacement towards addictive smoking and nicotine products like vapes and cigarettes. Addiction is a legitimately serious issue. It is a terrible disease that destroys the well-being for millions of people, and in the case of addiction, can lead to serious medical diseases. So it makes sense to try and capitalize on that by spending millions of dollars on advertising on every major social media, with commentary and drama channels in particular being some of the biggest sellers for Fume, which has made them become a pretty perfect contender for the series. Now, Fume isn't the only essential oil device in the market. Companies like Pure and Monk also do the same concept, giving the experience of a vape with the taste of essential oils. But Fume prides itself on how much it does not use technology, any mechanical parts, or even vapor for that matter. Just a simple wooden and metal inhaler. Now, I'm a child of suburban Generation X parents, so of course I grew up with essential oils. More specifically, the brand doTERRA. Now, there's a whole debate about the legitimacy of essential oils as a product in general, which I won't go into too much detail for this video, but I will say for at least the doTERRA, they are very expensive, and some of their selling practices remind me of a pyramid scheme. But I won't lie, they actually have some really good products, and I will say, they definitely smell nice. So essential oils is definitely an area I am very familiar with. But as for and yeah, I have no experience with that. Haven't smoked anything tobacco or any substance before, so I'm not really the target audience. But Fume is such an interesting and notable sponsorship. It's a very bold move to sell something that's marketed as a good habit, and they do also sell themselves as just a plain anxiety reliever. So it would feel like a missed opportunity if I did not cover on the series. So let's get addicted.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Just light already. Why isn't this working? Why aren't you lighting? I filled you up last night. Just light already. Come on, son of a gun. Why don't you work? Work. Work, please. Yes, yes. Come on. I brought the wrong bag!
Oh, logs off. Oh, 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 yeah, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Hello, officer. What seems to be the problem?
I don't know what was worse. The single cigarette I barely smoked, or the police brutality. But I think I have enough lung damage to be able to fairly review Fume. Anyway, the original model was originally made out of an olive oil wood texture, but they revamped the design around 2022 with the Pyramid model, having a maple wooden barrel with a stainless steel mouthpiece, then adding an additional model with the Solano variant, which is made out of a higher quality walnut and featuring an onyx black mouthpiece. Now, as for the packaging for these two models, since the Solano model was released later, they were able to update the packaging with a thinner box that has a slightly holographic finish to it, making it overall more appealing. But I kind of like the message on the back of the Pyramid model box, which is written by the company's own CEO. The world's first diffusive device. Are you sure about that? Inside the box, you get the Fume itself, a cleaning kit, and this 30-day journey card. The is a bit smaller than I was expecting, being around 4 1/8 inches, or about 10.5 centimeters. I personally like the mouthpiece on the Solano models more, but I think the overall look of the mouthpiece on the Pyramid model is a lot more interesting with the shiny stainless steel. But both these barrels are not that great. The barrel on the Pyramid model is really easy to get dirty, and the wood is just not the highest quality thing to feel. It's a bit too easy to get dents into it, as well as some debris over time. And I know it's maple wood, which is not the highest quality wood, but even the Solano model isn't the best thing either. In person, there's a weird haze that's covering it that makes it look printed on. It might be hard to show on camera, but it kind of makes it look fake, and I think there should be at least a better way to clean it. The cloth of the cleaning kit only really works for the mouthpiece, and these pipe cleaners are terrible. They're just a thinner version of those fuzzy sticks you see at schools, and the black fuzz comes off really easily. I've inhaled some of the fuzz while using the Fume, so it does the exact opposite effect that it's supposed to do. What a waste. They also mentioned throughout a lot of ad reads is that the can be used as a fidget toy, and as a fidget toy, it's a bit mediocre. The barrel moves a little too fast for my liking, and because the adjuster is at the bottom, it means you can't do a full rotation without stopping. It makes it less satisfying to use. It is easier to do with both hands, but it's just a little too quick for me. It feels like they just noticed how often the barrel spins and decided to market it as a feature rather than a design kink. But this 30-day journey tracker is interesting. It's used to help keep track of your progress while quitting, which at the end, you get a special reward if you send a picture of yourself completing the challenge. Now, I don't really want to wait a whole month, but I do like free gifts. So... Okay, while I'm recording the voiceover for this, I haven't sent in the photos in just yet, so I'm just gonna guess it's probably gonna be free flavor cores. I'll double check while editing. Here's the image right now if I got one. But speaking of those flavor cores, there are about 9 flavors that Fume offers. Those being orange vanilla, raspberry lemon, white cranberry, cinnamon hearts, sparkling grapefruit, black licorice, maple pepper, crisp mint, and the spearmint ice. All the flavors are trying to replicate an existing product, with most trying to resemble fruity flavors, with some of the latter ones, however, trying to recreate traditional with meth. They come in these tiny resealable bags, which include 3 cores in them, costing about $10 per bag, which is meh. On the back, it states that these flavors can last about 3 days before fading away, so each bag can at least last for 9 days, and comparing to something like which keep going up in price, and some people can smoke an entire pack per day, it's definitely better price compared to that, but the flavor cores are just not worth $10. I can see how someone who vapes can be turned off by that price, with something like a only costing $16. Now, sure, they are made out of essential oils, and they don't have any deadly chemicals that have, like benzene, formaldehyde, camion, carolean, carbon monoxide, ammonia, propylene glycol. But I do think they should cost around $5 to $6, maybe $7 at the most. I would say it's very much a razor blade situation here, if it wasn't for the fact that the actual almost cost $70, and that's just for the Pronamit model. The Solana model is almost $100, and both of these models are not worth their price tag. This does not look like a product that should cost almost $100, and actually having it in my own hands, it's not even worth $70. I think for at least the Pronamit model, it should be around $30 to $40. I think that's a way fair price tag, because $70! But they do have the base, which magnetically connects to the fume, so it has a nice little stand to place it on. It's a bit smaller than I was expecting, and it's a little tricky to use with the fume itself. You have to position it just right, or it can knock off really easily. But it's a great stand for nail clippers, and it's quite heavy and well made. It's actually a pretty neat accessory. Is it almost $30 neat? No, but it's still pretty neat. But let's cut to the chase already. How's the actual experience in flavor cores?
This is fume. Let's go.
Okay, I just want to give a disclaimer before I go on a huge rant about these flavors. As a reminder, I do not smoke, so I am not used to inhaling strong flavors. So please take this next section with an ounce of tobacco and know that I'm a novice reviewing these flavors as I taste them while they're inhaling, because oh my gosh, this was intense! Yeah, when opening a new pack, the cores are just covered in essential oils, which I understand is to make sure they last longer, but it doesn't help when oils like mint and peppermint get on your skin.
I don't like how it's just bright red. Oh, it burns my skin! Oh, fuck!
It probably wasn't the wisest decision to pick oils that could give a burning sensation to some people's skin, but because of that, it also burns the tip of your lip and tongue when inhaling a fresh core, which is not the most pleasant experience. Now, as for the actual taste of each flavor, well, this is definitely a flavor lineup, I'll say. The crisp mint lives up to its name because the mint was rampant throughout my whole mouth. It reminded me of doTERRA's Deep Blue Lotion when I first tried it out, and it's probably the flavor that burns the most. It gets more tolerable the longer you use it for, but it's such an intense flavor with a very, very, very strong after breath. The sparkling grapefruit was like inhaling air from a nail salon or department store with the aroma of perfume and makeup. For being made out of essential oils, it tasted the most artificial. I don't know why, of all the candies available to pick, why would you make one out of the most divisive one out of them all?
I don't even like normal black licorice. I don't want to inhale this, man. Come on! Why does it look like the packaging? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I will say, it's not the worst one. Oh, no, never mind. Like, out of all the candies to make, why would you do black licorice? There's probably a reason for it. I look it up in editing, but like, damn, that's not good.
The cinnamon hearts gave the essence of Christmas, probably due to having peppermint inside of it, but the cinnamon had some real spice to it, and combine that with the lip burning, it was not the most fun feeling to have in my mouth. The orange vanilla was actually pretty decent, at least compared to the previous flavors. It has a nice zesty orange peel flavor to it.
Better than the mint, I'll give it that. It's more just orange with like a slight vanilla-ness. Like it's orange. They could have just called it orange and it would have been fine.
But it has a really bloating aftertaste that led me to start coughing a few times. When I found out there was a raspberry lemon flavor, I got flashbacks to another air-based product. So I wasn't the most pumped to try this one out.
It looks like a pool noodle.
Now, it is better than the AirUp flavor, but still a bit intolerable. There's only a hint of lemon towards the back of your tongue, with the raspberry being a little too spicy towards the roof of your mouth, which gives a really unpleasant experience while inhaling, which did not lead to a really good first impression.
Why would you make essential oils a plant? Oh god. I'm gonna peel. Oh, it burns on my skin. It's all like skin, man. I gotta get something to wipe it down. Oh,
The best flavor cores were the maple pepper and the white cranberry. I still wouldn't call them great, but they were definitely more tolerable than the rest. The white cranberry has a really nice sweetness to it, but it does have a dry berry aftertaste that sours the longer you use it. And the maple pepper starts off with a strong burnt wood flavor, which can be a bit overbearing. However, it does smooth out very nicely with a pretty sweet flavor. But for some reason, when I inhale this flavor, it reminds me of a public pool. That's probably just a me thing, but it is something I did want to know. The final flavor is the spearmint ice, which I thought was better than the crisp mint, but I do think it was not warranted that there should be 2 mint flavors.
this one has a stronger aftertaste than this, so I guess it's technically worse. But they're so similar, man. They burn your mouth and lungs. Oh God, it hurts. We're done. We're done with this shit.
I will say, on a positive light, I think all the flavors inhale better when the strength begins to weaken over time, with something like the mint flavors becoming way more bearable. And for me at least, the flavor course lasted closer to 4 days rather than the 3 labeled on the packaging. Still not a great flavor lineup, but one that's slightly more tolerable. Slightly. Now, there's a whole online debate about the health risks of essential oils. One concern being people getting negative reactions from certain oils, with even Fume themselves saying how some oils could possibly not be the safest for certain types of people. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this conversation. I don't think I have the right qualifications for that. But I will say, based off my personal experience with the wow, these oils just go for your entire body.
Oh, my lungs. Oh, my lungs hurt. It goes for your chest. I thought it was just gonna be going for your mouth, but it goes for your whole chest, man.
I could feel flavors like the black licorice and the sparkling grapefruit just linger on my a little bit. And when I first tried out the crisp mint, I could just feel it in my ears.
Oh, it's in my ears! Oh, you just feel mint in my ears! Holy shit, that's strong! Every part of my head just became mint. It goes in your ears. I was not expecting it to go inside your ears, man. What the fuck?
Even after a few days and the flavors decreasing in intensity, after inhaling for a few minutes, I started to become a little bit more lightheaded. I don't know if that was the fault or just not me exhaling correctly, but it did feel a little bit nauseous to a point, not to a point that made me ill, but it did make me a little exhausted. Now, I'm not saying fume will make you automatically go sick. This is just my experience with it, or that essential oils are bad for everybody to inhale. There's just not enough research on the subject yet, or that it's even worse than smoking real products. I would bet 100% that inhaling essential oils is much better than whatever a pyloglycol, I can't even pronounce that correctly. What the heck? But if you know or are very nervous about the safety of your I wouldn't really recommend these flavors. In fact, I wouldn't even recommend itself. Now, I don't think a good product. However, I feel a little dishonest reviewing it. As someone who doesn't smoke, I don't know anything about the culture of products, so I'm not really the target audience. So I decided to ask some real I know for their opinion, and I was actually a little shocked on what they said. Most of the people who tried it out said it was a pretty alright attempt at a placement. Most people said it did a really good job at satisfying the physical action of and apparently it does a really good job at recreating the burning sensation in your throat. But the most common complaint was surprisingly the lack of vape. Apparently, that's actually a big reason why people like the seeing that big puff of out. So people who like that, they said it was a little bit jarring not seeing it. But a few people who tried it out said they would actually consider it as an option if they ever wanted to quit. And after doing some research online for other opinions, there were a lot of people who were able to quit because of But the consensus online is that this is a product that will not magically make someone quit, like how some ad reads will sometimes describe it as. It's more of a tool to help through a difficult path of quitting. Most of the energy has to come from the user itself, not the itself. It's just there for the physical action of hitting. So in short, this is not a product that's going to make you quit. This is a product that could help if you want to quit. If anybody's watching this who struggles with and you think the is the best way to finally stop, by all means, go ahead. Your health is more important than my silly complaints.
It looks like a flute!
Just know that you're probably paying more for the marketing than the itself, and the flavors are not that good. Honestly, if you don't really care about the flavors and just need something physical to suck on, the itself, without the cores, works pretty well, which says a lot about how good the flavors are. Is not a great product, but it does work for some people, and it is nowhere near as bad as
Holy shit. That was way worse than the
Now, would I recommend to people in the general public who do not or vape? No! Yeah, besides people who actually want to quit, this is a product you should not buy. Every item should be at least 40% cheaper. Most of the flavors are just flat out bad, and the possibility of health issues from essential oils is just not really worth it. Even the people who I asked who liked it said it was just not worth the price tag. If it wasn't for the people actually being able to use this to ditch smoking and vaping, there's a chance I would put this right below AirUp, but I would say the lowest D tier, on the border of E tier. A product that could work for some, but for the rest, is just unnecessary and a waste of money. I wasted $85 on the smoke machine, so I kind of want to get my money's worth.
You lousy smoking prick! You're trying to ruin this respectful community! You're quite literally a scumbag.
I'm sorry! It was a mistake! It was just for my YouTube channel!
Oh. So you're one of those demented Minecraft YouTubers, huh? Like Will Bend Over, Lion Cupcaker Studios, and Skydoes beat his wife. I'm gonna send your butt to the nether realm, you creeper.
Hello and welcome back to Just Another Tier List, where we cover a large variety of topics and subjects and rank them on a tier list. Today we're going to be looking at the trendy low-sugar candy brand Joyride. I'm trying to build up engagement so my RPM can be higher, so I'm creating a self-imposed challenge to have more subscribers than a rival who doesn't even know I exist. So subscribe to the channel so I can overpass my arch nemesis. Really? Pennies? That's the opening bit? Like, it's kind of annoying, but it's not really the most interesting of an intro. Candy is possibly the most beloved treat in the entire world. Everyone loves, or at least has fond memories of candy, being synonymous with childhood and a much simpler time. Most people have a personal favorite candy brand, which makes sense. It's such a defining characteristic for some people, having a candy that best suits one's taste buds.
You are like the round candies with the S's on it or the M's on it. There's no room for share sizes here, buddy boy.
I don't think there's a category of treat that is as universally consumed as candy is. It is one of, or even the most beloved type of food in the entire world. It's a shame that it's pretty bad for your health. Yeah, candy is not that good for you. Now that's kind of a given. It's candy. Possibly the closest thing to pure sugar. It doesn't have any physical health benefits that healthier sources of sugar have, like fiber and fruit. And besides some psychological benefits, it's basically just empty calories. But even more recently, candy has just become more artificial. With the advent of food manufacturing, candy's become more like a science experiment rather than something that's made from a recipe. Especially in the last couple of decades, candy's become far less, oh, what a sweet and delightful treat, to more like, dude, I don't even think that's edible. Candy has become a cesspool for the most unhealthy ingredients, like high fructose corn syrup, food dyes like Red 40, and the most random combination of words you can imagine. My favorite ingredient is titanium dioxide. All of this in an attempt to make the cheapest and most addicting candy, which has been a heavy cause towards the obesity epidemic in the North and South Americas. And even the candy made with real cane sugar, there's just so much in it, possibly taking up your daily intake in a single bag. This might be a little off topic, but a while back, I ate an entire box of Fruit Roll-Ups variety pack sitting down. When I ate the whole box, I immediately stood up and all the sugar just hit at once, man. Holy crap, it was an experience. I literally felt my eyes dilate, and my vision became way fuzzier, and it was also a little hard to walk for a little bit. I thought I was under the influence or something. So I can relate to the demand of wanting a candy that won't cause 2-type diabetes, but how can we find a candy that isn't terrible for your health, but still tastes delicious? I think we gotta keep looking. Joyride is a Texas-based candy brand that was founded by Tyler Merrick. It was started in 2008, originally known as Project 7, with a completely different marketing design, but in 2022 they revamped their entire image into Joyride, featuring a more bold color scheme and a different marketing strategy. They were part of the healthy alternative movement that became prominent in the 2010s, which is still going on today, with companies trying to make healthier options to popular products that are notoriously not great for your health, to, mixed results. Now, Joyride isn't the only or even the first company to do something like this. I think I've had some sugar-free gummy bears in the past when I was much younger, but they were forgettable to a point that I don't even remember the brand. And I wouldn't really blame my younger self for forgetting, because in the past couple years, the healthy candy market has become much more saturated, with even some of the major candy brands making sugar-free options of their own candy. So Joyride for quite a while wasn't really able to stand out from its competition. That was until 2024, when they did something unthinkable. Something that no respectable company would ever try to do before, but was able to make Joyride to be able to stand out from the rest of the healthy options out there. They became YouTuber merch. Ryan Trahan is a YouTuber mostly known for his travel and challenge videos. As I'm recording this right now, he's not only one of the most popular YouTubers, but also one of the most beloved, known for his authentic and his purposely simple style. I used to be quite invested in his videos a while back, but I'm more a fan of his second and third channels, which have a way more laid back feel to them. But his main channel videos do cross into that popular side of YouTube, which I'm not really a big fan of. But he is able to make some videos that do have some amount of soul in them. And I would say he is definitely one of the better, bigger YouTubers, and definitely better than the onslaught of other channels his size and genre. In February of 2024, Ryan made a video titled My Last Video, produced by the channel Sticks, which was actually an announcement that he was going to launch a new sour strip candy with Joyride, which he had become the co-owner and chief creative for the company. Now, I've mentioned in my 50K Q&A that I probably wouldn't talk about YouTuber merch that much, and that's still true-ish, kind of. Most merch is just a way to help financially support a channel, being a fun way to show off your love for a creator with inner jokes and references, with it also being another way to express a creator's creative output, or even help raise funds for charity. But there are sponsors that do cross collaborations with creators, which I will be talking about, and there are some creator started companies that I think are interesting to a point that I want to talk about them on a spin-off series I'm developing, but it's not something I'm going to be doing in general.
Amo, you magnificent bastard, I read your book!
But Joyride is such an interesting exception. This was a company that started way before Ryan Trahan was even making videos, but has now been declared his own candy brand. It's a very unique situation to say the least. Ryan has mentioned on his second channel that the original flavors will be slowly be replaced. However, as I'm recording this, most of the original flavors are still available to purchase, with even the original gum being packaged in with Amazon bundles of the blue raspberry Trahan pick. Admittedly though, some of the original flavors are becoming much harder to find, but I was able to get 10 of the original flavors with the 8 Trahan picks.
Howdy! This bit's gonna be really rude, isn't it? There's been about 18 Joyride flavors that have been available since the relaunch in 2022. Today, I'm going to be ranking all those flavors to see which one tastes the best, and if any of them can taste better than the artificial junk on the market. I'm going to be splitting this video into 2 parts. The first part looking at the original lineup, then looking at the Ryan Trahan picks to see if they got any better, or was it just a lame way to capitalize on a popular YouTuber. Oh, this is so mean, man. Why am I complaining? I sound like a chicken smoking on saliva. Smoking his saliva!
An aspect I share with Ryan is camera anxiety and like that shyness, so I think I can definitely relate with this. Like the little like I can understand that, of course. So these are the original 10 flavors. I can't confirm or deny that this is every flavor they made before Ryan Trahan joined, but these are the ones I could at least find. Let's start out with the fruity gummy bears. This is really interesting. They definitely feel like gummy bears. They feel very similar to the Habro ones, the one with the golden bear on it. Okay, those were my sound effects, but a majority of the original flavors are really hard to chew on. Most of these flavors don't have any sugar in them, leading them to be quite stiff, which makes sense, but it leads to the candy being quite bland. Feels like you're eating a vitamin gummy, and not a really good one. Like, I mean a really cheap and generic one. Most of the sour candies were not that good. The candy part is missing any distinguishing flavor, but the sour topping was sour in a wrong type of way. It's either barely present or leads to a really dreadful bitterness, with the sour gummy worms being completely unpleasant. Most are a low D tier, but the sour gummy worms in particular are an E tier. Joyride also has a candy trying to recreate Swedish Fish called Berry Gummy Guppies, which even though has a really cute name, the flavor fades away after only a few seconds, with a really chalky aftertaste. I would say a low C tier, It's not bad to a point where I put in D tier, and the minuscule flavor that is there is actually pretty alright, but it feels like you're just consuming something and not actually eating candy. But the red licorice twists were actually pretty good. It actually has a really good sweetness level for not having sugar in it, and I will say it definitely tastes like red licorice. I think I would say a C tier. I think it is a little more fruit gummy than candy, which to some people may like. Definitely a C tier. This is actually one of the better flavors. And honestly, even though I do think they were a little stiff, I thought the fruity gummy bears were also really good too. It's a little stiffer than usual gummy bears, but flavor-wise, this is actually pretty on par. I'm actually a little shocked by this. This one's actually pretty decent. I would say a low B tier. This one's actually a pretty good recreation. Now, all the previous flavors don't have any sugar in them, but these two are the exception, being the fruity golly lollipops and the sour gummy worms, which I already thought was a flavor. That reminds me of Jelly Babies a lot. It was like the powder of Jelly Babies. There's a light flavor towards the back of the end, and it was like the powder is nice, but it's not the most unique thing. They're fine. They're not unique or anything, but like I think the powder and the aftertaste makes it slightly better. I would say a C tier, but like it's a little bland still. Makes sense that there's sugar in it. Now the lollipops actually have the most sugar per serving out of the original lineup, having 1 gram of sugar per pop. The rainbow ice and the watermelon flavors were really sour, and I would probably put them into D tier, but I really like the raspberry and the fruit wizard flavors, and I would probably put those in B tier, so I'll average it out to a C tier. Definitely a mixed bag. And lastly, for the original lineup, instead of candy, we have the super fresh spearmint and the glacier peppermint gum, and both of them are definitely gum. They both taste like any other vegan sugar-free gum. It is made of stevia, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's barely present, probably because it has a really strong mint flavor, and it doesn't have any aspartame, even though it looks like it does on the packaging. It kind of looks like it says sugar-free and aspartame. They're both a low B tier, with the spearmint being the better one out of the two options. They work as gum should be, but it doesn't really stand out as something that Joyride made, and I'm going to dock some points off for not being able to blow bubbles with it, but still a pretty good gum. Now, that was all the original Joyride flavors, and even though there were some good flavors, I could see why they want to replace them with the main attraction of this video, the Ryan Trahan picks, which is made up of 8 different candies. You can tell it's his flavors because it features his face right on the corner of the packaging, which for me is a little odd. I don't know if the right word is off-putting or egotistical, but it's a little weird having his face right on the bag, and my mom wanted me to add that he looks like a young Sandra Bernhard. I do know this is a very common marketing tactic, and it is tame when compared to some other examples, but for me at least, it's a little weird seeing someone's face plastered on a product they made, or at least support.
Oh, I can't wait to enjoy some classic literature!
The biggest difference from the original lineup is the amount of real sugar in it. Most of the original lineup is only made of allulose, which is a sweetener we've covered on the channel before, with only 2 products featuring tiny amounts of real sugar. But the Trahan flavors are all featuring real sugar, as well as allulose, with having about 4 grams of real sugar per serving, with servings being about 1/3 of the bag, meaning that a bag has about 12 grams of sugar in it, with the candies with higher sugar counts, like the sour strawberry ropes, having 6 grams per serving, being about 18 grams of sugar per bag. Now, I wouldn't really say this is scummy. Right on the back of the bag, it clearly states it's per serving, so it's not really a shocking revelation. And even the amount of sugar per bag is still way better than a majority of candy brands. But I do wish it did say per serving on the front of the packaging, like with the sour gummy worms. I could see someone who's in a hurry might be misled into thinking it has much less sugar than it really does. It is really weird having his face right on the packaging. It feels like I'm gonna hurt him.
Hey, get your deformed looking thumb off. Ah!
little bland. There's a little flavor towards the back of your throat a little bit, but it's a little bland throughout. Like, there's a little bit of licorice, but it's not enough to be there. Actually, I'm gonna try it out with the zero sugar version. That's the original. This one's better. Surprisingly, this one's a lot better in my opinion. The Tran pick looks a lot more like licorice, but this one tastes and smells more like licorice. I was actually a little surprised how much I like this one a lot more. This one's not bad, but it's just kind of bland.
I probably changed my ranking of the original licorice up to a low B tier and the Ryan pick in a C tier. The texture is more accurate and there is somewhat of a good flavor here, but it's too hidden to actually enjoy.
This might be a little bit of a nitpick, but on the cherry ropes, the image they use for the candy is really low res. It might be hard to show on camera, but there's like some black pixel sorts of sides and like a little white line that like doesn't look cut out, and it makes the drop shadow a lot more noticeable. I think I only noticed that because I'm used to using PNGs, so I know how to like drag them in and out. So seeing that, it's a little unprofessional, I guess. But this is Joyride's version of Sweet Tart Ropes, so I'm a little excited to try this one out. I'm actually going to use scissors to open it.
No, wait, please don't! I beg of you! I have a family! Ah! I can't see anything anymore!
All right, they're definitely connected very well. Oh, never mind. Let's try this. Definitely sticks to your mouth. The center is very, very similar to Sweet Tart Ropes, which is great, but the outside is very much like a fruit gummy again. This one's actually pretty decent, even though it's a little sticky. I would say low B, high C tier. It's pretty good actually, but I don't think it's amazing. Like the highest C tier, like it's good. This is a very solid option, but it is good. But it is very much like, there's like a little, there is a tartness to it, I will admit. It's not as sweet as Sweet Tart Ropes, which oh wait, oh, I guess that makes sense.
They also have a different variant of the ropes with the sour strawberry flavor, which adds a crunchy sour topping to the candy.
It kind of got a little messed up in packaging. It's all just one piece now, and it kind of just looks crumbled up. I better just put it out its misery.
No! I want to live! I want to live! The pain is immeasurable! Oh, God!
I think it f***ed up a little bit. And it's just one really big piece stuck in there. Look at this baby. That's really good actually. That's way better than the cherry ropes. I think the sourness adds some texture to it, which is a little missing from this one. Still a little sticky though. I guess it makes sense because of all this, but yeah, this is a lot better than the other one.
Yeah, this one was actually great. The sour sugar topping adds some much needed depth to the candy, which gives it a really great experience while eating it, and it's the closest one to real candy. This one was a really high B tier, very close to A tier, and I would actually pick this up again. The next flavor is a recreation of Sour Patch Kids Watermelon, being called Sour Watermelon Wedges.
I can't feel my insides! Ow! Ow! Ow!
Ah, it's one piece again. Lot softer I was expecting. It's a lot more squishy than real Sour Patch Kids. It definitely has a very similar taste to Sour Patch Kids Watermelon. It's not as sour. Still a little sourness to it, but it kind of fills away after a little bit. And there's kind of a powdered sugar aftertaste. It's definitely the most sweetest one out of them all. And it's also very squishy and easy to tear apart. I would say a low B tier. The sourness is a little lacking a little bit. Like, it's kind of there, but then it kind of feels away after a bit. And it's a little too sweet, but I would say a light B tier.
But let's finally talk about the sour strips, coming in 4 different flavors that took over the entire internet by storm and were able to make Joyride way more recognizable. These are basically fruit leathers with sugar on top of them. I don't know what I was expecting, but not something out of a child's lunchbox.
Oh, I'm melting. Oh, what a world. What a world. Ow, 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 ow.
Oh god, the plastic's melting. Oh, I got all over.
I think I melted it to a point where it's sealed, so I can't open it. Oh, wait, oh no. Oh, it hurts. Ow, ow. Oh, wait, I'm going to need the scissors for this. Oh, I think I just cut a little bit of the actual candy. Oh, there we go. Let's go. Oh, it's still one piece again. The One Piece! The One Piece is real! The whole studio smells like burnt plastic. Oh, I'm gonna... Oh. What's it called? It's like the health roll-ups, like the fruit snacks. Like it's kind of like a fruit roll-up, but it's like a fruit snack. You can get them at Trader Joe's and Target. It's kind of like you just take one of those and put some like sugar or like some dust on it. It's not bad, but it's like, it's not really a candy. It does feel like a kid just got like a fruit snack and put some like sugar on top of it. It doesn't feel like a candy. It's decent, it's pretty good. I would say like a medium to low C tier though. It just doesn't feel like a candy that much.
Please, if this has to do with the AirUp sponsorship, I'm sorry.
But I thought the green apple and the pink lemonade were slightly better. I think they do a better job with the fruity flavor mixed with the sour dust. But I do think the green apple is still like a fruit snack, and the pink lemonade tastes too much like powdered lemonade. These are probably the highest C tier. Pretty good, but same with the strawberry flavor, a little bit lacking. But the blue raspberry flavor is fine. It's not bad or anything, but it's not my favorite strip. It reminds me more of a darker licorice, but it is kind of saved by the sour topping. I would say a light C tier, but it is very close to D tier. And that's all the Joyride flavors I was able to get, and most of them were fine. There was nothing here that was astonishingly amazing, but maybe besides the zero sugar gummy worms, there wasn't anything abhorrently terrible either. Most of it was decent to pretty good, but it was more similar to vitamin gummies and fruit snacks rather than real candy. The best flavor was the sour strawberry ropes, which I guess makes sense since it has the most sugar out of all of them, but the sour topping really added some much needed texture to the ropes, and I would say it is the closest thing to becoming a real candy. I understand that Joyride is not going to be 100% like candy. They can only do that if they have artificial ingredients in them, but I do think they need to improve their texture, which I think the strawberry ropes are able to do very well. If they were going to keep any of the original Joyride candies, I think the gum, the blue raspberry and fruity flavored lollipops, and the gummy bear should stay, and I would actually switch out the Ryan Trahan licorice with the original, but the rest can be discontinued. I also want to talk about the prices of each lineup. The average price of the original candies was $3.50 for bags that hold about 1.7 ounces of candy, which with the quality of most of these candies are not really worth it. But the Ryan Trahan flavors, on average, are about 3.5 ounces of candy per bag, which costs about $5 on average, which is reasonable for being made out of healthier ingredients. But I would say if they were able to bring the cost down without changing anything to $4, I think that would be a perfect price tag. If you're someone who does not want to eat a bunch of junk, but still wants something to calm that sweet tooth, some of the Joyride flavors are not a bad alternative. But keep your expectations low. And no, it's not going to be exactly like candy. Honestly, if Joyride just said, screw it, and switched their business to fruit snacks, I actually wouldn't really mind. I love me a good Welch's, and if they did stick to candy, I would love them to see them attempt something that's less gummy. I love Mentos fruit, but I don't really eat them anymore because of the sugar content, so if they ever attempt something like that, I would love to try it. If there's an original flavor I forgot, or a new one coming out after the release of this video, I'll make sure to update the tier list, which will be available in the description below. And if there's any other YouTuber candy that you want me to cover on the series, or any other YouTuber related food product, let me know in the comments below. But I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you another time. Alright, pink lemonade bag, you got any final words before you meet your maker?
Please, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make a candy that wasn't full of junk ingredients. Our blue raspberry strips aren't light blue because we don't use any artificial colors. Oh God, I don't want to die!
Hello and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we're going to be looking at the Souvenir Plot and Lordship Company Established Titles. Lordship? Established Titles is a company that was started in 2019. It was founded by Katarina Yip, who runs the company through the Hong Kong venture capital company Galton Voicey. They're a company that sells souvenir plots of Scottish land for preservation purposes, which allows the buyer to title themselves a lord or lady. They were one of the biggest sponsors on the platform, from the educational, drama, gaming, finance, reviewers, politics. If there was a semi-successful YouTube channel, chances are they were probably sponsored by Established Titles, which was probably due in part to their really high payouts for sponsor integrations, which have made them become one of the biggest sponsors on the platform. In November of 2022, the channels Valskibum and Skopstrafer both released videos a few days apart covering the misleading and predatory practices of Established Titles, bringing a big wave of drama onto the platform, which led to many creators who worked with Established Titles to apologize and distance themselves away from the company, leading to Established Titles having to release a statement about the situation. This is one of the more notable cases of the ever-rotating world of YouTube drama, with even journalist Daisia Tortolitano making an article about the situation. But why did Established Titles, once being one of the big boy sponsorships on the platform, become so hated in such a short amount of time that barely any YouTuber takes a sponsorship from them anymore? Oh. Yeah, Established Titles is, to tell you the truth, was one of the stupidest sponsors to ever be on this platform. Before I started doing the series, and even before all the controversy happened, I thought they were one of the stupidest sponsors on the platform. Their main selling point is that they sell you plots of land in Scotland that you're not actually allowed to use their souvenir plots, which did lead to a lot of people being misled into thinking they own the land. If they were an actual Scottish nature organization with the main intent of preserving more land with the money, that would be one thing, but you're preserving land that has already been bought in by a giant venture capital firm that's based in Hong Kong. And their land isn't a part of a sweeping vista like a majority of their marketing shows, which are actually just stock photos that a lot of Scottish tourism companies use. Established Titles land is scattered across Scotland, with most being acres of land next to roads, farms, and people's homes, with even one being part of a public park. So it's not land that's in desperate need of being preserved. Actually, if you go on the 3D viewer on the Google Maps for one of the locations, there's actually a company that's advertising land for sale. Now, I can't confirm that Established Titles has worked with this company, but just looking at this website and other sites that sell Scottish woodlands, you can just buy large pieces of land, and a few of these companies have already put the time and effort in making sure the land has been preserved, so it's probably more likely that Established Titles is paying for land that's already been preserved, which there's technically nothing wrong with. They paid for the land, but really shows how they probably care more about the monetary gain rather than the controversial side of things. If Established Titles sells 1 square foot of land for $50, or if you want to max it out, you can get 10 square feet for $300. Before taxes and expenses, they can make anywhere from $1.3 million to almost $2.2 million in revenue from just 1 acre of land. Even with some of the bigger area lands for sale going into the hundreds of thousands of pounds or even millions, as well as the taxes and fees for buying land, they would easily be able to recuperate their losses in just a few acres of land sold, which they've probably been able to do with the amount of locations they have. It really puts into perspective why established titles probably went into the business model of preservation. It's probably the easiest way to sell real estate without actually giving the land away. However, their preservation, which is one of their main selling points, their biggest marketing tactic is the ability to call yourself a lord or lady. In Minecraft, the YouTuber David Bennett's Piano made a great point in one of his videos talking about established titles, that the title of becoming a lord can't just be bought off a website, it's an actual position of power in the House of Lords. And there's a 2012 article from the Laws of Society of Scotland, which got a comment from the Lord Lion on the subject of the legitimacy of online souvenir plots for sale, which the quote, "Ownership of a souvenir plot of land does not bring it with the right to any description such as laird, lord, or lady." This is probably due to the Land Registration Act of 1979, which states that souvenir plots don't count as real land that's owned by the buyer. So established titles is just selling a lie! The company did change their marketing strategy. It's more of a joke gift now, with the most hilarious gift as a tagline. But this change was made after the big controversy happened, with them also removing the predatory countdown timer, which is a tactic that a lot of companies try to do to seem like there's a limited time deal, even though there's always a limited time deal going on. They actually changed a few more things on their website after the drama, from adding a tiny disclaimer to their examples and completely rewriting their about section to play up to the gag gift side of things, rather than the original, which is more about the lord title itself. All of this in an attempt to downplay the controversy and to make it seem like it was always a gag gift, even though they still use the ticket example on their website, and in their FAQ, it still says you can use this to make yourself a lord or lady. So you could definitely tell the move to a hilarious gift strategy was more just a quick way to downplay the drama, and just ranking this as a gag or novelty gift, it's pretty bad. Even if you can actually call yourself a lord or lady, what's funny being titled something that means you're having dominance over other people? And the examples they show on their website to title yourself a lord as aren't that great. I feel like a really overworked security guard wouldn't really care that your ticket says lord on it, or even if it did, it actually might be a red flag to them. And calling yourself a lord or lady on a dating app feels more like a way to detract people. It sounds so narcissistic. Also, wouldn't the title of lord and lady become redundant because everyone has the opportunity to buy it? It would lose all its prestige, and even by established title standards, its sense of humor. There are just way better novelty and gag gifts out there. There's literally websites dedicated to this that do a much better job at being hilarious than established titles could ever be. I think the only people that see the sense of humor in established titles is themselves.
What a bunch of suckers.
Now, I know established titles does work with non-profit tree organizations, which, I'll be fair, is technically a net positive, but I would like to note that one of these organizations works with giant corporations, and the other does not require a large donation to become an official sponsor. Also, on established titles' website, it does say they plant a single tree, and one of these organizations only requires $1 to be planted the tree. Even if established titles did donate a bit higher than $1, they would still be making a large profit per acre. And because they also donate, it does allow them to make tax deductions. There's also no mention that the donation also applies to established titles' worst parts, the add-ons. For some reason, you don't get a physical piece of paper when you buy the normal retail version. You have to pay an extra $30 for it, and to frame it is an extra $60. And actually holding this in my hand, this is so bad. The frame feels like it's from the dollar store, and it's so poorly made, and it just screams cheapness. I feel like I could break it any second. The paper on itself is technically better, even though the background is basically just a stock image. But this shouldn't even be worth $5. It should have been part of the original purchase. And I actually prefer the format of the digital version more than the one you get printed out. The digital one looks way cleaner, and the printed out one has just way too much text on it. There's a part of me that just wants to say, just print out the digital copy and buy a frame for much cheaper. But that would mean you would actually have to buy established titles, which I do not recommend you do. If you want a funny gag gift for a family member and also support the environment, find something that will suit their sense of humor and to support the organizations directly. You and the world are going to get a lot more out of it. And that's all I can really say about established titles. And I don't like to be too harsh. This company sucks. I'm really surprised that a lot of popular and even more respected channels took established title sponsorships. I don't think a majority of these creators meant to sell something that was really scummy. I think a lot of this drama was due to ad agencies saying this was a trustworthy company, so they're probably more at fault in the situation. And to give some merit to some people who did publicly work with the company, they did cut ties with them, and I don't have any disrespect to anyone who took a sponsorship from them, but this situation is a perfect example of the importance of research and not just taking a deal that has a high dollar sign. Those are the people who love what a creator makes and are the reason why they even have a job in the first place. Creators should always take account what they're selling to their fans before taking a brand deal, and I don't think a lot of creators did that in this situation. And admittedly though, sometimes still do. Because established titles is one of the most idiotic sponsors to ever be on this platform. A terribly unfunny gag gift that is horribly misleading, some of the worst attempts at taking your money, and basically greenwashing to a point that it should be a waterfall. This is the closest thing to ever be a scam. F tier! Qobuz is a music streaming service and magazine that was started in 2007. It was founded by these two lovely gentlemen, whose names I sadly cannot pronounce correctly. Compared to the competitors, Qobuz allows music to be streamed at CD quality level to even some tracks being played at high-res 24-bit level. It's definitely aiming for that audiophile audience, which you can really tell the sound quality is excellent. The biggest surprise for me was the magazine side of the platform. The articles and descriptions are shockingly well written, and I've actually really enjoyed reading through them, and it's definitely superior than YouTube Music's copy and paste descriptions from Wikipedia. I will say, all the music is more mainstream, or it's actually ripped from a CD release, so it's missing that user creator content you can get off Spotify, and it also doesn't have the same size catalog that Spotify has. Also, I wouldn't really recommend it if you don't have a good pair of headphones, or at least a decent preamp. But man, those CD quality tracks are something else, man. A tier. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Just Another Paid Product, a spin-off where we give an honest and humorous review of other well-known products and services. To celebrate the new series starting, we'll be looking at the YouTuber snack meal kit, Lunchly. Since this is a new series, it would mean a lot if you consider liking and subscribing. Man, I got the timing wrong on that one. Well, anyway, Lunchly is a children's lunch meal kit that was started in the fall of 2024. It's a collaboration between two YouTuber food products, Prime, which is the sports drink promoted by KSI and Logan Paul, and Feastables, which is the chocolate brand of Mr. Beast. All three of these men are some of the biggest people to ever be on the internet, with KSI and Logan Paul being some of the most popular YouTubers, and Mr. Beast quite literally being the biggest one. So it makes sense why they would all collaborate on a product together. It's probably the best way to bridge all their fan bases and help increase exposure for Prime and Feastables, and surely create a product that everyone would like. So when is it finally over? To say Lunch's release was bad timing would be an understatement. This came out in the midst of one of the biggest dramas that ever happened on YouTube, involving Mr. Beast having multiple allegations and controversies towards him and his company. It also probably didn't help Lunchly having Logan Paul being one of the founders, who is one of the most polarizing people to ever be on the internet, with a bucket list full of controversies. And with all of this in mind, it led to Lunchly having one of the most hated and made fun of announcements for any product released by a YouTuber. I was actually going to originally first cover Prime and Feastables and their own separate videos, then wait a few months for the drama to die down, then review Lunchly. But a dear acquaintance of mine really wanted me to review Lunchly as soon as possible. So this one's for you, Terror. Now, we can't really talk about Lunchly without talking about its main inspiration and the product Lunchly themselves say they're a healthy version of: Lunchables! To give a brief history of Lunchables, they're a children's snack meal kit company that was formally launched in 1988, being conceived by Bob Drain, who was trying to sell more bologna for his company, which later spin off to a variety of different meats and items. I think every generation of elementary school kids since the 1990s always thought these were kind of cool, especially the pizza ones. You can make your own little tiny pizza, that's so neat! My family actually never really bought Lunchables when I was a kid, and besides one time when I was really young, there were some really cool kids that let me have one of their pizzas. But besides that experience, I never really had them. But a few years back, I was actually buying some snacks for a movie marathon, and I just saw them in the refrigerator section, and I just said to myself, you know what? Screw it. I bought them immediately. They weren't that good. It was just candy with a Capri Sun, mixed with some not great crackers and cheese. Not completely awful, but you're better off just buying some Ritz crackers and string cheese. So maybe Lunchly could actually be an improvement to Lunchables. Even though they're still aiming at the same child audience, their whole marketing is that they're healthier than Lunchables. So let's make this review a comparison too, with also reviewing the Lunchable flavors that closely resemble the Lunchly lineup, seeing if Lunchly can actually taste better and if any of this drama is actually valid. We have 3 Lunchly meals to eat, which are all inspired by 3 really well-known Lunchable products. Those being the Fiesta Nachos, which is recreating the nacho cheese dip, the Turkey Stack Gums, which is recreating the turkey and cheddar meal, and Lunchly's version of the pepperoni pizza is simply titled The Pizza, which is titled in very bold quotations. The packaging of the Lunchleys is whatever. The actual graphic design, on a technical aspect, is perfectly fine, but just feels generic. And because it has a mini Prime bottle in it, it makes the box thicker, which leads to some empty space and way more prone to getting damage. The Lunchable boxes are thinner and have a more appealing cover, but I do prefer the older logo and the more simple layout of the older Lunchable boxes. Let's start with the 2 nacho meals, with both use very similar tortilla. Oh, wait a minute. These are the same chips. These chips by themselves taste like they could be from the same brand. This one has more salt on it, but if you told me that this was the low sodium version, I would completely think these were from the same company because they have the same texture and flavor to it. Not the worst chips I've ever had, but kind of a little like stale, and having them refrigerated is not the best thing, but they taste exactly the same. Let's actually try the cheese. Oh, I don't want to eat this. Oh, this kind of looks gross. We'll try with the cheese. That's just good old-fashioned like junk food cheese. It's kind of like that. It's like nacho cheese. It's something you get like a movie theater or a baseball game. It's good old-fashioned like junk food cheese. Not good for you, but it tastes good. Let's try the salsa. Very much cheap salsa, like the big jugs of salsa you can get. It tastes like it. It's like it just tastes like big American brand. This is it. It's big American brand snack food. It is very much something you see at an American like grocery store in like the junk food aisle. It is very much reminiscent of that. It is that. It's not like it's not good for you, but like it's what you expect. Like you can get this at a hot dog game, you can get this at a baseball game, you can get bowling alley, anywhere like America you can get this. It's iconic, but it's not great for you. Let's try the Mr. Beast one. It's thicker. It's kind of like a thick Thousand Island sauce. It's not expecting that. Definitely a much more mild flavor. Oh, there goes the Prime. Doesn't have any flavor to it. It's so mild compared to this. It's not bad, but it's like, yeah, there's nothing to it.
there's no like unique flavor to it. There's nothing distinct about this cheese. It just tastes like you're consuming something. Like this at least has like a really nice spicy flavor to it. This tastes like you're just, yeah, it just tastes like you're consuming something. You're not eating anything. Where is it? Right, let's try the salsa. More tomato pasty. It is definitely more of a tomato paste. There is a little salsa flavor. Mild, like it's mild, but it's definitely more prominent than something like the cheese. It's fine. It's like an attempt at making a salsa. Like this is like someone's first try making salsa. It's not bad.
Yeah, both these nachos aren't the greatest, but at least the Lunchable one has something to taste with it. The Lunchly one might be technically healthier, but both of its sides are lacking any flavor. At least the Lunchable's cheese has some jalapeno tang to it, so it brings some complexity to some really cheap cheese. And the salsa, for being kind of generic, at least the flavor is noticeable. The Lunchly cheese and salsa, even if it's not bad per se, it's so underdeveloped and tastes like it's not fully prepared. It feels like it's missing some ingredients. Let's actually talk about the healthier marketing campaign, which has been the big push for Lunchly, saying that it's a healthier version than Lunchables. And even though in some aspects it is technically healthier than something like Lunchables, it's not something you should really call healthy. This is still processed food that's full of ingredients that aren't really great for you and can actually be really bad for children if eaten in large amounts. Even something like the electrolyte statement has been criticized by a large amount of people for just basically meaning having a higher sodium level. And with the Feastables, they actually have similar amounts of sugar as the candy and Lunchables, which really isn't the greatest for the younger audience that Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI have. Now, to say Lunchables are healthy would be disingenuous. They really are worse in a lot of aspects. In fact, Lunchables have been warned for the amount of lead they have in them, which is something that Prime has been accused of. So Lunchables are also something you shouldn't really eat in large amounts either. But it is really disappointing that Lunchly didn't go all the way with being healthier. There was a real opportunity to make something that was actually better than Lunchables, but they didn't really take that route. Feels like a waste, and knowing that these meals are aiming towards kids also feels more predatory. Also, since we already mentioned Prime, I'm just gonna say it, I am not a fan of the inclusion of them in any of these meals. I still do really want to make that video about Prime, so I don't want to go into super detail about all the health concerns of Prime in this video, but I'll say for now, the inclusion of Prime kind of irritates me. Having the same company that sells incredibly unhealthy energy drinks in a lunch kit meal meant for children doesn't sit right with me. Even the ones included with the Lunchlies are the sports drinks ones that don't have any caffeine in them. Some of them share the same flavors and labeling as the caffeine ones, which sometimes are grouped together in grocery stores and gas stations, which could lead to some confusion with children or even be used to condition them to eventually start drinking the energy drinks. That doesn't sit right with me. But actually drinking the Prime and the Fiesta nachos, which is the strawberry banana flavor, judging it by its own merits, it's pretty bad.
Oh, it's kind of sour. Kind of tastes like it's too sweet. It tastes like it's kind of like a melting candy, like a sour candy, like it's melting over time, like in heat. Oh, that's bad. I don't like that. That's not good. It's not the worst thing in the planet, but it's like, when I review Prime, this is probably an E tier. It's like a low D tier, high E tier. It's not that good. I wouldn't drink this again. It's really Capri Sun. It's Capri Sun. It's not great for you, but it's Capri Sun. I'm not gonna deny that this is probably, that by technicality, this is probably worse for you. But if we're judging by taste, this one not only tastes better, but I also think fits this meal overall better. This just tastes way too sour. It brings down the whole meal. It tastes like a Hershey's Kiss. It's like a slightly milkier Hershey's Kiss. Like, not bad at all, but definitely not unique.
Have a break! Have a Kit Kat!
It's alright. I'm not a big fan of chocolate in general,
but it's pretty alright. I can definitely see why this is some of people's favorite candy, but it's definitely not good for you. It definitely tastes better than the Feastables. I think the inside crunch makes it have a way more unique flavor to it, but this is basically just Hershey's Kiss in the bar form. It is very much just ripping off Hershey. It doesn't taste like it's the world's best chocolate. It is very much, we're just taking an already existing product and putting our logo on it. It's very much just Hershey's Kisses in the bar form.
The second meal we'll be looking at is the pizza flavor, which this one has actually been under a lot of heat, or I should really say under a lot of mold. Some people are finding mold in the mozzarella cheese. Apparently it's really easy to spoil even before opening the packaging, which has been giving more fuel to the drama. Personally, I think the issue has to either do with the manufacturing or the transportation of the product. It might not be as processed as something like Lunchables, so it's probably easier to spoil and be more sensitive to different temperatures. But that is something that should have been taken into account and probably double checked before it was officially released. But after eating the pizza itself, honestly, it wasn't bad.
I've had these before, but I've never had this, so I'm gonna try out the Lunchley pizza first. Oh no, the potato. Not the potato, the salami. Not the salami, the pepperoni, I'm sorry. Pepperoni's alright. It's a little more salami-esque than pepperoni. The dough's kind of weird. The sauce is alright, and I actually like the cheese a little bit. Alright. Not amazing, but I don't think this year is gonna be great. The sauce is definitely more sweet, but this one's definitely a little more accurate with the pizza sauce. The bread is definitely mushier. Still very similar. This one's sweeter, but this one tastes more like pizza, but they are still very similar. They're not amazing, they're both not great, but I kind of like the Lunchley a little more. I'm kind of aiming towards the Lunchley. I'm gonna try another one of these. I think the cheese is definitely more accurate. They kind of taste exactly the same, but this one definitely tastes more like cheese. The pepperoni, this is much better. This one it is definitely more a salami-esque than pepperoni, but I do think this does taste much better than this one.
The Lunchables pizza did not taste horrible, and I can see why it's iconic, but it was too sweet and mushy. The Lunchy one tastes like you're actually eating a mini replica pizza. I actually might get some pushback for saying this, but I thought the cheese in the Lunchley was better than the one in the Lunchables. The taste was very similar, but the texture felt more fresh and more authentic, but there should have been more portions for the cheese in both the Lunchables and the Lunchley. But overall, I thought the Lunchley pizza was better. I still wouldn't call it amazing or healthy, but not bad at all. However, the Prime and Feastable bar that are included in this meal were a little more on the mixed side of things.
This is the Cherry Freeze Prime. Definitely very sweet still, but tastes more like Powerade. Not really a good combination with pizza, but this is very much just like blue Powerade. If I ever do make a Prime tier list, I think this is like a low C tier. This one's pretty alright. Not amazing, but it's like, yeah, this is pretty alright. Not terrible. Oh, there we go. So Capri Sun. I do think the Capri Sun fits way better with this meal than this drink fits with this meal. I think it is overall still better. Oh. Alright, let's try the chocolate. Huh. You can definitely tell that this is ripping off from this. But let's try it. Weird. It kind of tastes like you're eating chocolate with like non-popping Pop Rocks. It's kind of weird. Let's try the Crunch Bar. This is way better than this. The Crunch Bar is way better than this Feastables. The crunch is way better. This feels like you're eating a candy. This feels like you're eating broken glass a little bit. This one tastes way better.
And lastly, we got the Turkey Stack'ems, which is a meal that includes slices of turkey, cheddar cheese, and crackers. Okay, I apologize if this next part is a bit jarring compared to the rest of the video, but the Turkey Stack'ems meal was incredibly hard to find. I went to 7 stores around my county. I was able to find the pizza and nacho meals perfectly fine, but the stores that had price tags for the turkey meals were all out. I actually did talk to an employee at a Ralph's I went to, and they told me that the manufacturers of the Lunchlys were kind of having issues with them, so they wouldn't have them for quite a bit. And even some other YouTubers who also reviewed Lunchly also didn't have the turkey meals. So there was definitely some issue having with the turkey meals. My original plan to end this video was to review the Ice Pop Prime that's included in the turkey stackums, and then mention that the turkey meals were out of stock. But when I was editing that part of the video, I went on the Kroger website to get some screenshots for like keyframing and stuff, and they had them in stock finally. Like after like weeks of looking like multiple times, it's like they finally had them like right before I released the video. I had to buy them online, so I had to buy like 5 of them. God, I also got the Lunchable meal. I think I had this before, and I think I remember hating this, so I'm not really excited to eat this one. All right, let's finally do this. After all the waiting, we gotta do it. Just like, come on. After all this time, let's do this. Oh, this does not look that good. Oh my God, it's wet. Oh, it's slimy. Oh, that's gross. Oh, it's so slimy on the fingers. All right, let's try the cracker first. Really dried out and kind of like a sugar-free cookie a little bit. It kind of has like the aftertaste of a graham cracker. And this is not really a good cracker. This is not that good. A little stale. Very stale. All right. Let's just try the cheese by itself. It's whatever. It's like Kraft shingles. Oh, I don't want to eat this. Oh, it's slimy. Oh, it's just really like, it like leaves like residue on your fingers. Let me try this. Oh my God, it's like rubber. Like people serve this to children. This is disgusting. Oh, I can't even swallow it. Oh, that's disgusting. I can't even finish that. Oh, let me at least try with the cracker. And let me cover it with all the cheese. Let me try to cover this. I can still taste the turkey. I don't like the turkey. I need water. I'll be right back. Oh my God. Oh, that was an experience. I gotta get a glass of water. Let me try the Reese's cup. Oh. My biggest problem with Reese's cup is like, they're always like soft like on the bottom, but let's try it. Reese's cup, it's pretty damn good. I don't like chocolate, but I love the peanut butter stuff. Like I really love like Reese's Pieces, but yeah, it's like bad junk food for you, but it's just like taste wise, it's probably like one of the better chocolates. The peanut butter cup was like the best part, of course. Like it's junk food, but it's like it tastes really good still. The cheddar cheese, which is basically like a Kraft single. Like I want to eat this, but it's like it wasn't awful. The cracker was just too dried out and it tastes like a burnt graham cracker a little bit. This was horrendous. This was bad. Like I would not eat this again. Ugh. It's like slimy. It's like the most rubbery like garbage. It's like it's not good. Like I gotta wipe my fingers. It's gross. All right. Oh, the Capri Sun. Like a bridge over troubled water. That's not even the hole. I didn't even get in the hole. It's like next to it. Let's try this. This is really watered down. It's not bad, but it's just like it just tastes like water. I know this is beloved, but like yeah, this is too watered down. The flavor is whatever, but it's like there's not a lot of it. Let's try the lunch leaf. Let's try the cracker first. It tastes more similar to the Ritz crackers with the one like the square ones you have like the cheese dip ones. It tastes more similar to that than a normal Ritz cracker. It's whatever. It's slightly better than this, but it's like it tastes a little stale still, and it's like it's definitely not like great. Like it's really kind of hard to crunch a little bit actually. It's like it's a little too stiff. It's not bad. Like the flavor's okay, but it's like it's kind of minimal, and it's just like it's just very stale a little bit. It's just a little too chewy for my taste. All right, try the cheese by itself.
It really just tastes like they took a slice of cheddar cheese and like cut it into pieces. I know it's just probably like, this is probably just a sliced cheese, but it's like, I don't really eat this. It's just weird. All right, let's try the turkey. And it's not as slimy as the other one, but still a little wet. I don't like the aftertaste at all. It tastes a little funny, but it is definitely 100 times better than this one. Like, this is awful. I don't even want to touch that. Like, this is edible at least. When it enters your mouth, it actually tastes a little good, but the aftertaste is not that pleasant. It's a weird experience. Let's try it with all 3 of them. Let's try this. It definitely works better as a combo than separate. This was not great, but I think overall worked better than this meal. The turkey was disgusting. Oh, it's just gross. I'm just gonna keep the original ending where I reviewed the Ice Pop Prime as well, because I think it goes more into detail. I can go right now. So put in a little editing transition in McGillicuddy. But to end this video, I thought I'd review the Ice Pop Prime that's included with the turkey stack gums. The Feastable bar is the same one in the nacho meal, so the Prime's the only differing item that isn't the food. This Prime flavor is trying to recreate the flavor of a Bomb Pop, which is easily shown with the same color scheme with its bottle, and it is very accurate to it. Maybe a little too accurate. It does a really good job tasting like a melted down popsicle, but that is a flavor I really wouldn't like to drink a lot of. The popsicle flavor is overbearing, which leads to it just being way too sweet, and it can be a little hard to finish off. If I ever do make that video about all the Prime flavors, I would put this in maybe a low C tier, maybe a high D tier. I think if they water it down with some more coconut water, it could be better, but as it stands, just too strong.
Man, I sure do love Ryan's toy review.
Oh my gosh, Terror is dead. Just like his plushies campaign.
And that's all the Lunchleys I was able to get. And they were... Lunchly is not the worst product on the planet, but only improved a few minor things with Lunchables, and now it fully became a better version of it, with the 2 YouTuber items actually bringing the meals down a bit. I think with the moldy cheese fiasco, and it being very hard to find the turkey meals, this product lineup seemed to be very rushed out the door. There should have been more time in making sure the food manufacturing and the transportation was up to the highest standards, and with how the reception happened with the release, it actually probably would have been better if they just delayed Lunchly. I do think most of the drama was exacerbated a bit. People were declared Lunchly dead, even within just the first month of being available. And there's some other YouTuber food items that are also probably not healthy that most people don't really go up in arms about. So a lot of the hate towards Lunchly is probably more fueled by the behavior and allegations of the founders rather than the actual meals. With a few points of criticism feeling more forced than others, like a surprising amount of people were just criticizing how the cheese looks on the website. Like, really? If this was released before Mr. Beast's reputation was in question, I do think the hate would be far less, or at least having more people defending Lunchly. But I do agree with some of the online consensus that this is not a great product. It isn't bad, but feels like a way just to keep profiting off some young fan bases, which feels a tad exploitive. Lunchly had the opportunity to actually improve the unhealthy issues with the child meal market, which even Lunchables was able to do with their organic lineup a few years ago. So I think if the people working at Lunchly really wanted to, they would have went down the path of going fully organic and actually make something that was far healthier than Lunchables. But the path they went down just felt like another way to sell more Prime and Feastables. It really seemed like this was a quick way to make some already rich people richer. I do not recommend Lunchly, but I don't really recommend Lunchables either. If there are any children who are pretending to be older while watching this video, if you have guardians that make meals for you that you take to school, I would say enjoy those as much as you can. The people making those probably put more care and passion into them than Lunchly could ever do with their meals. And as for Lunchly, it's probably not the worst product ever made by a YouTuber, but it's one of the most rushed and soulless. It's just very disappointing. Well, I think that was a pretty good start to the new series. I just hope this is the only food product that was made by an internet personality that has a history of spoiling. No!
Hello and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honor and humor real bubble sponsorship on the platform. Today we'll be looking at the electric home care brand Laifen.
These videos are not sponsored, so it really mean a lot if you consider liking it. Oh, I forgot the mouthwash. Laifen is a technology company based in Guangdong, China, with it also being known as 树叶 Technology, which was founded by 红星叶 in 2019. They have two main product lineups. Their Swift hair dryers, which have been a sponsor more on Instagram, but they have really ramped up their sponsorships with the Wave toothbrush. Not only sponsoring a flood of tech channels, but also paying some of them to feature in their advertising, including on their Amazon listing, featuring some very notable reviewers, giving their recommendations for the Wave, which I wouldn't really count as an honest recommendation if the person was paid by the company to say that.
I recommend this product. I really recommend this product.
But because Laifen uses creators in their marketing, it makes them a perfect contender for the series. Now, before we go into detail about Laifen, I have to come clean about something. I don't really have clean teeth. Yeah, when I was younger, I barely took care of my teeth. It was something I never really took seriously, and because of that, dude, my teeth are so crooked. I don't know why my teeth are so bad. It's probably due to a lack of good dental habits, a large consumption of sugar, not knowing properly. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, sorry, mate. I need a glass of water. Oh, all those beans in the morning does a lot to a chap. Right, so my teeth aren't the best. I actually already have an electric toothbrush, a Philips one I think I got from Costco, but it's a bit old and worn down, and it's starting to become yellow. Also, it's really easy to get buildup on the bottom of the brush head.
Oh, it's so gross. It won't come off!
And I also don't really have my own hair dryer, so I think Laifen could have the opportunity to be part of my daily routine. So let's first start with the Wave toothbrush, which comes in 3 different versions: the ABS plastic, the aluminum alloyed, and the stainless steel, with all being in this packaging, which is very familiar. Oh, that's right, it's plagiarism. So Laifen's whole strategy is basically copying the whole aesthetic of Apple, trying to evoke the idea that this is an Apple product, which has been a focal point for a lot of sponsored reviews. They really went all out with trying to copy Apple, with their advertisements, how they format their website, to even the unboxing experience. Which, speaking of, inside the box you get the toothbrush, the instructions, 3 different brush heads, and a magnetic charging cable, which is in the same style as the MacBook cables, and they are not trying to do their own thing. And because it follows in the same style as the MacBook chargers, it means you have to charge it on its side, which is annoying. It makes it really awkward to find a position for it. I would have liked an option for a horizontal stand that you can plug the charger into, like a majority of electric toothbrushes. And even in their own marketing, the design's actually pretty neat, even if it's a bit shorter than I was expecting, and the brush heads are really thin. They look like they're gonna snap any minute, but there are 3 different types of them, including the gum care, the super clean, and the ultra whitening. They're all softer than some other companies' brush heads I've used, which is probably a good thing since it's gonna vibrate really fast. Apparently the toothbrush goes up to 28,000 vibrations per minute. The 3 models are basically the same on the inside, so you're mostly paying for the look and feel of the body. The ABS white was the one I mostly use. It weighs less than the others, and I think for a while it did look cool out of the box. But since it's white, it's really easy to get dirty, and it gets grosser over time, with it very much feeling like plastic. But I am not a fan of the stainless steel. For being the most expensive, it looked the cheapest, and I know the reflection is supposed to be cool, but it is a fingerprint magnet, and the coolness goes away after seeing a reflection.
It looks like a circus mirror.
The best one overall was the aluminum alloyed. It looked the best and had a pretty decent weight to it, It felt the most premium out of all three of them. But the materials in all of these brushes are the same ones that Apple has used in the past. And, am I the only one that feels a little weird because of the obvious cloning? Okay, I get it. Apple is one of the biggest and most influential companies to ever exist. And I know taking something that's proven the work and capitalizing off it is a very common practice outside of just tech. But this feels like Laifen is compensating for a lack of original identity. It makes them feel really soulless. But hey, maybe Laifen could be able to make a product that lives up to Apple's standards. The only way we can truly know is by actually using it. So let's get brushing. Well, anyway, the Wave was certainly an electric toothbrush. I think my favorite brush head was the ultra whitening one. I think the extra softness made the brushing against my teeth more pleasurable, but the fluffiness of all the brush heads goes out the window once you turn on the toothbrush. The bristles feel so sharp against your teeth, and I did notice they were really easy to get worn out, which is probably due to the main attraction of the Wave, the rotating head, which gives 60 degrees of oscillation, supposedly giving your teeth a more in-depth cleaning, which I guess is true. It's not a life-changing feature, but it does a good job cleaning some pieces of food between your teeth, and it is able to get a few pieces that usually need flossing to do, but it does become a hindrance when you type with the Wave's biggest flaw, the speed levels. There are 3 different speed levels you can set the brush at, basically low, medium, or high, or how I like to call them, medium, high, and this is starting to hurt. This toothbrush is way too powerful. It felt like the second setting was a bit too strong at times, but the third level is to a point where it starts to hurt. It felt like my teeth were getting drilled at the dentist's office. I understand it sounds impressive to have a powerful toothbrush, and it is very commendable that Laifen was able to fit all of this in a small body, but the power level didn't really lead to a good first impression.
Blimey, my teeth are crooked. I can't do a British accent for the life of me. My teeth are awful to look at. If the Patreon continues to do very well, I'll get braces or anchors, because in America, it's very, very expensive. So you'll get 1 fucking point, you f***ing brights. Let's actually try this out. Oh. That was the speed 1. That was just speed 1. Let's try with speed 2. Gee, oh shit, this is powerful. Ow. Oh god, it sounds awful on your teeth. I have a really weird feeling. I'm gonna try number 3. This is max power. Oh my god, it's just Jesus. Oh. I'm really good at this. It did a really good job actually getting the purple stuff out of it, but my gums really hurt now. My top gums feel really sore. It's not a fun feeling to have.
Yeah, it was not a pleasant experience having it at the highest level. It led to a really unpleasant feeling after brushing, and there were a few times, even on the lower levels, where my gums started to bleed after brushing a little too long, with it also not being fun when the back of the toothbrush hits your teeth. It was a bad experience. I let some other people try it out, and they said they couldn't even do the medium level, so it's not really a toothbrush meant for sensitive teeth, and it is really easy to get spit all over. But if we want to adjust some of these settings, like the rotation of the head and the speed, we have the Laifen app, which gives us control over the entire toothbrush, and it's a little inconvenient to say the least. It does give you full control of how you want your toothbrush to be adjusted, which can be saved onto the toothbrush. So let's say you don't want the rotating head. With one of these little bars, you can lower it down to make it a more conventional toothbrush, and you can even do this with all the speed levels. You can make the lowest speed level, which is usually a 2 on the speed bar, go all the way down to a 1. And you can make the highest level, which is usually only only a 6? Wait, if that's only 6, then how powerful is 10? Wow. This is actually painful. It goes way too fast. I have no idea why they would need something so powerful. It shakes your entire mouth, and it's really easy to get hurt by. When your toothbrush has a kill switch, I think you gotta reevaluate your product. Hey, what does this button do? Wait a minute, it goes higher?
The numbers all go to 11.
What happens if you put it on 20? So this high frequency mode isn't as painful as having it maxed out to 10, but it just feels strange. It kind of tickles your teeth, but it gets really irritating quickly. I'm more baffled why this was included as a feature. And because of these high speed options, the battery life drains incredibly fast, with there being a few times where I noticed the wave got warmer, which even happened on the normal third setting and even the second one, so even the toothbrush itself couldn't take the speed levels. Yeah, I didn't think the wave needed more power, but it did not need this app at all, because all this customization should have been on the actual brush. Besides adjusting the toothbrush, there's not a lot you can really do on this app. There is a timer on the app, but I would have preferred a color system to tell you when to stop, like some other electric toothbrushes. And you can always just set a normal timer on your phone. The only other unique quirks is that you can name your toothbrush, which you can already probably do with just a little imagination or buying a sticker. And there is a featured link to buy the toothbrush on the home screen. The same one you're already using this app for. Like, it would make sense if it was brush head replacements, but why sell something that the customer already has? This app was probably made so they didn't have to clutter the Apple-inspired design, because all the functional features could have been on the toothbrush itself. But on a more positive light, the IPX7 waterproofing did work. You should probably still not cover it in water a lot, but I was able to use it in the shower, and it still worked perfectly fine. The wave was very capable of cleaning my teeth, and I did notice my teeth were whiter after using it, probably because I made sure to brush them correctly. But even with that, this is a lineup I would not recommend to everyone. It's too powerful for some people, and the slick design makes it lose some features that should be in it. It's a toothbrush that's held back, and at the same time, it's not held back enough. But we still have to mention the other half of Laifen's business, the Swift hair dryers. Even though they're still using the same Apple-style packaging, this time Laifen is ripping off the Dyson Supersonic hairdryer with the same kind of racket or saucepan design. However, to be fair, there's a more understandable reason for the plagiarism. But after a few weeks using the Swift, you know what? This is an actual good hairdryer. Now, I don't think it's perfect. I have some minor issues with it. I personally don't like how the buttons are on the outer side instead of the usual inner side, like how most consumer hairdryers have it, but I did let some other people try it out, and they had no issues with the button placement, with all of them saying they thought it was a really good hairdryer. And this was probably designed for barbers and hairstylists in mind, so I'm gonna say it's an acquired taste. The only other major problem I had is that I think the prices could be lower. I know hair products could be really expensive, but $140 for the original Swift with all the attachments, I think somewhere around $120 would be a better price tag, which it often is when there's a sale on it. So I don't think that would be a stretch to say that that would be a better price point for it. But as for the hairdryer itself, I got the SE and the original Swift models. I prefer the extra quality of the original Swift, but even with it feeling a little cheap, the SE was quite capable. Both models did a really good job with my hair. I would say I have slightly longer hair than most people, so it was nice to notice a difference after using both hair dryers. It made my hair a bit puffier and nicer. Not as nice as the marketing, and I don't have the $500 to compare to the Dyson hairdryer, but it did a pretty fine job drying my hair. I don't think you need this if you already have a perfectly good working hairdryer, but the Laifen Swift was quite good. I actually wouldn't mind keeping this. However, I would not say that about Laifen's weakest part, their carrying cases. Both the Swift and the Wave cases aren't the best, which you both have to pay separately for. With the hairdryer case, the outer material feels really cheap, and it's a bit difficult to fit everything in it. It's slightly easier with the SE, but not by a lot. This should have not cost an extra $30. The case for the Wave is made of a higher quality material, but doesn't have a designated spot for the charging cable. With the way to seal the case feeling really cheap, I would have liked a magnetic system or some hinges on the side of it, but you get this really cheap rubber band to hold both pieces, and you can't replace the band if it breaks. Also, apparently the ABS version is a different thickness to the other two models, so there's two separate carrying cases that have the exact same design, which a lot of people have mistakenly bought the wrong one. Even more with the Swift, they should have not really cared about the thin packaging and included the case with the toothbrush. And that's Laifen's current lineup, and it is definitely a mixed bag. I think for at least the Wave, they were too focused on making a good looking and powerful toothbrush that would invoke the image of Apple, without taking into account Apple's rigorous testing and quality control. This toothbrush is way too powerful for people that have sensitive teeth, and it did hurt me after using it on the higher levels. I won't say it's totally bad. In fact, it's a fine toothbrush if you turn it down to the lower settings, but the fact you need to customize some of those settings in a bare bones app, I don't know, man. It really shows how they chose style over function. However, I wouldn't call them overpriced scams. The price point of the models range between $80 to $100. They're not the cheapest thing, and they definitely should have come with a travel case. Maybe they could have been like $10 to $15 cheaper, but I'm not offended by these price points, and they're in the same ballpark as some other electric toothbrushes, with the replacement brush heads actually being cheaper compared to some other brands, but I would not recommend the Wave to people that have sensitive teeth. And if you already have an electric toothbrush, you do not need this at all. I think if Laifen made a second version that was less powerful with all the features of the app, plus some quality of life improvements, and just steal the SE name, which they've already done with the Swift models, I think they could make something that's actually good, because the Wave really feels like a company's first attempt at making a toothbrush. But I actually like the Swift lineup. It's not perfect, it could be a little cheaper, but it did make my hair feel a lot nicer. It's a very solid lineup of hair dryers. I would say Laifen is a really high C tier. The Wave lineup needs some revisions, but the hair dryers bring it up a lot. I think that's a good spot for it.
This is a awful idea.
Hello and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we'll be reviewing the beef jerky stick brand Slim Jim. These videos are not sponsored, so it really mean a lot if you consider liking and... Wait a minute, Slim Jim? That can't be right. Wait, let me check the script. Today we'll be reviewing the beef jerky stick brand Slim Jim, so it's not some overpriced healthy knockoff of it, like it's actually Slim Jim? Who in their right mind would be that low to do a Slim Jim sponsorship? Lightwing! Slim Jim is a snack food company mostly famous for their jerky sticks. Being founded all the way back in 1929, they are currently now controlled by Conagra Brands. They're a company that really tries to market themselves as prioritizing health, owning some more health-conscious brands. I also know them from the frozen meal brands they control, which includes Kid Cuisine, Banquet Meals, Hungry Man, which aren't really great for your health. But Slim Jim is one of their most beloved brands. It's probably the most iconic because of the decades amount of advertising, most notably with their advertising in the 1980s involving a lot of popular wrestlers, which is a tradition that the company still continues today, being a proud sponsor of the WWE. But we're not talking about Slim Jim sponsorships for people pretending to win a fight. We're talking about Slim Jim sponsorships for people pretending to be your friend. In 2021, Slim Jim sponsored some high-level streamers and YouTubers, most notably Ludwig, who heavily featured Slim Jim in a few of his videos, basically being overt product placement. Now, I wouldn't really say that this is the perfect contender for this series. Slim Jim isn't the first thing that usually pops into your mind for the reason why your thumbs are always so numb, but the videos sponsored by Slim Jim are labeled as a paid promotion that feature a paid endorsement and feature ways to buy Slim Jims in the description. So I guess it technically counts, and hopefully lead to a pretty simple episode to make. So about that, I thought this was going to be one of the easier episodes to make. Because it's one of the most common snack foods in the US, all I thought I had to do was go down to my grocery store and pick up like a handful of flavors and then call it a day. No. Slim Jim actually has a really large variety of different flavors and items, which means some things were really hard to find. Even going through 2 states and having to rely on eBay for some of the items, I wasn't able to find everything. Now, some items were long discontinued, which makes sense, but even some of them still listed on the website, I couldn't find them around me or even online. The tracker they have on the website was incredibly unreliable. But I did get a majority of the flavored sticks, and these did not make me feel slim, that's for sure. I know this has a really big fan base, and I don't want to upset anyone, but I didn't really care for any of these sticks. Aw, man. Let's go into detail of each of the flavors. Starting with the classic Slim Jim, the iconic snap you get from the first bite of a Slim Jim is due in part from the dry skin, which holds the softer inner meat. And I don't know if it's just Slim Jim, or I might not be a big fan of jerky sticks in general, but the contrast between the skin and the mushy inside meat wasn't appealing to me. It kind of felt like you're eating the wrapper, but the inside meat is filled with grease, and you're able to squeeze the grease out, pouring out the slightly thick orange goo. It's made out of overprocessed pork and beef that's padded out with really cheap chicken that's also full of unhealthy nitrates, sodium, and fat. After eating 2 full sticks, I started noticing some pressure on my heart, like I was about to have heartburn or something. But there is a decent smoky flavor here, even if it's probably artificial. But it was still one of the better flavors I had for this video. But if you're looking for something that's less smoky, Slim Jim has got you covered with a mild flavor. It still has the weird contrast as the original, but really lives up to its name. There is barely anything here to taste. The original Slim Jim definitely had a noticeable flavor, but it wasn't something I would call overbearing. I guess the mild flavor is for people who just really want to eat the texture of the meat, which for me was more of a detractor. The nacho flavor was just weird. It has a nacho cheese flavor to it that's like slightly spicy, but it tastes so artificial. And mix that with the grease in the Slim Jim, it's not awful, but I don't know, it's really artificial. We got our first collaboration with another food brand with the Tabasco flavor. And honestly, this was probably the best Slim Jim I had. The spiciness adds another level to the skin and meat. It's still a bit too greasy, but I actually wouldn't really mind eating this one again. But if we want something a little bit more spicy, we also got the Hot AF Slim Jim, which even though I'm not the biggest fan of the name, this was another tolerable one. I was surprised that it actually lived up to its name, because it definitely left some heat in my mouth for a while. It wasn't painful, but was definitely noticeable after eating it. But I don't think it's as good as the Tabasco flavor. Definitely more edible than whatever this is. This is the dill pickle flavor, being a crossover with another Conagra Brands property, Plastic Pickles. This is a strange collaboration. I usually like pickle flavored foods, but this one was just off. The Slim Jims are sort of soft and sweet inside, which is weird to taste with the texture of the meat stuffing, and the skin's kind of the same, so it's overall, it's just a weird experience. I wouldn't call it good, but it's definitely worth being called something. The last one of these giant-sized flavors I was able to get was the teriyaki flavor. This one was a pain to find. I could only find one of them, which I had to eat to try it out, so I hope you enjoy this paper cutout as a visual. There's an okay teriyaki flavor in here, I guess, but this one had the most grease out of all of them. It made it so creamy to eat. It ruined the whole stick for me. I'm so glad I just don't have to eat any more of these giant sticks. Oh my gosh, it's thicker. So Slim Jim has some bigger sized versions of their normal sticks, which includes the monster size lineup, which are labeled 2 Slim Jims in 1. I was only able to find 2 of these, being the original and Tabasco flavors, and they were whatever. There's more inner meat than skin, which surprisingly isn't the worst thing ever, but kind of downplays the snap and even a bit of the flavor. Just a little too much meat. But we also have some more interesting Slim Jims with the deli meat version and the meat and cheese lineup. The deli meat version was fine. It did taste like it was from a butcher, but it wasn't really Slim Jim-esque. The meat and cheese lineup is quite interesting to say the least. It includes a bar of cheese that's the same size as the Slim Jim. I was only able to find the mild flavor of it, and it was pretty terrible. This is the only Slim Jim stick I would say is flat out awful. The jerky stick isn't even a Slim Jim, it's just a poor tasting tube of meat. And the cheese is this room temperature chalky mess that's really easy to disintegrate. Really disgusting. The final jerky stick lineup is the Savage flavors, being named after their former spokesman, the late Macho Man Randy Savage, who was featured right on the packaging.
Oh yeah, let's play cream with crop.
The main selling point for the Savage lineup is that it's 3 times the size of a normal Slim Jim, and it certainly is. You can barely taste the skin. There's just way too much inner meat in this, which makes it just way too soft. A few times when chewing, it reminded me more of meatloaf. This lineup is the definition of overkill, but it wasn't horrendous. Like, they're edible, even if you have to eat a lot of them, and oh my gosh, these are so unhealthy. But taste-wise, they're kinda, yeah, that's the only way I can really describe them, they're whatever. So those were the Slim Jims I was able to get, but this is a nationwide brand, so certainly someone else could be able to find a few more flavors. Oh crap, it's Nomad!
So Shane of McGillicuddy fame is going around looking for all the Slim Jims he can find. However, he is in a geographically terrible place to find Slim Jims, so I had to do some of the dirty deeds for him. He told me to go to any Walmart, any gas station, and I would be able to find the Slim Jims he's looking for. He gave me a whole grocery list to look at, and I found as many as I could. I also got an original Slim Jim because I've actually never had one before. Okay. That is stronger than I thought it was going to be, and also greasier than I thought it was going to be. This is actually quite a greasy stick of meat. Okay, so that's kind of a pork. You got beef and pork, and chicken, and soy, and corn syrup. So the most intriguing thing about this Slim Jim for me wasn't the actual taste itself. It's the actual feeling of eating it. The exterior is so much rougher than the inside, which is actually kind of soft and squishy. Like, there's just grease coming out of this. There's a little bit of spice. There's a lot of grease. I can't stress, there is a lot of grease going down my throat right now. I'm going to give it a high C tier. I don't really like it, but I could eat the entire thing. And I think that's a pretty good baseline for a high C. Next up is the Honey Barbecue Slim Jim, and you'll notice it says monster size. For some reason, when I tried to find these Slim Jims, as for the deli style, what is this one? The hot as f***, you'll notice this one is particularly thick compared to the original Slim Jim. So, I'm just gonna keep trying them. All right. That one's a little bit rougher just because there's more skin. A little bit spicier too. As for the actual taste of honey barbecue, I don't really taste it. It might be a little bit sweeter. It might be a little bit more vinegar. But overall, I don't really taste much of a difference compared to the original Slim Jim. If you want something with a little bit more flavor, I'd recommend that one. I'm gonna put it in the same area. A high C. I don't dislike that, but it's just so much larger. If it were the same size as a regular Slim Jim, I might be able to eat the whole thing. So actually, I'm gonna put it like in a C-. It's gonna be lower. I have the original with cheese. What is this called? Original in cheese, big boss size, made with real cheese. So when Shane originally sent me the name of this, I thought it was going to be a Slim Jim with like cheese in the middle. No. It is an entirely different stick of cheese compared to the Slim Jim. Not only that, but it's larger. It's actually larger than the Slim Jim. It's a giant stick of cheese. Look how long it is. First, the Slim Jim itself. Is it any different from the original formula? Whoa. That is so much rougher than like... That one's like the hardest to chew. Now for the stick of cheese... I'm assuming you have to, okay, like, here we go. That has no resistance. That just falls apart in your mouth. Dude, that is not good. No, it like turns to powder. If I take a pinch of this, I could probably sprinkle it onto my hand. It turns to particles. I can't show it on camera because it falls out of my hand, but it turns to particles. The Slim Jim is worse. The cheese is awful. I'm putting that in D-. I don't like that. That's gross. Next up is a much more capable sized pepperoni and cheese Slim Jim. This one was actually like a normal size. I made the mistake of, this is the one I got at Walmart. They only had one in this giant size. I should have went to the gas station because they had these smaller Slim Jims that you could actually eat. First off, I'm starting with the pepperoni stick. Not very resistant at all. It tastes like a stick of pepperoni. You can make a very average pizza with it. Next is the American cheese stick. I think this one was cheddar cheese. What is it? Time to have some fun. It melts a little bit better than the cheddar cheese stick, but it still has like that problem of just turning into absolute powder once it's in your mouth. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm thinking C-. You know, there are better Slim Jims out there, but at least this one is an appropriate size. These next three, I'm excited about. First up, the chili lemon Slim Jim. This one, I actually have kind of high hopes for. They said, you know what if we just made a Slim Jim, but try to make it a Taki? Boy, oh boy, am I excited to eat a Slim Jim. That was one of the worst textures. As for the chili lime taste, I'm not getting too much lime. I'm just getting mostly spice. It's kind of like if someone took a Taki and just injected it with chemicals, even more than it already is injected with chemicals. It's not good. I'm feeling a D+. Just next up is the hot AF flavor. You know it's gonna be spicy when it says it's hot AF. Time to open it. Time to grip and rip my monster size wiener. Time to grip and rip this monster size stick of meat. Hey, I bet. Anyways, the hot AF Slim Jim. That is pretty spicy, actually. That is pretty hot. Okay. So yeah, this one's actually pretty hot, and the taste itself isn't too different from the average Slim Jim, but it is just extremely hot. I don't hate the flavor of this, but the sheer fact they want you to eat this entire thing with this a level of heat is insane. So for that reason, I'm just giving this an F. Hot AF, yeah, it gets an F tier just because, like, you can't eat all this. Finally, the one I am most excited for. It is the Sonic Chili Cheese Coney flavor. This is absolutely... This is an atrocity on American culture as we know it. It's an artificially flavored cheese injected into this stick of meat. I hope this one tastes like what I thought this was going to taste like. They actually combined the stick and the cheese into a I don't even know. The chili cheese coney from not just Sonic, but also Slim Jim. Alright. There are brief moments where I can tell there is a hint of chili cheese coney in there, but overall, it's another Slim Jim. I don't like it as much. I'm gonna put this in the D tier. The D+. I don't think it's terrible, but just get a regular Slim Jim if you really want. That is my opinion on all the Slim Jim flavors I could find. I don't necessarily like Slim Jim, and this whole experience was more costly than I thought it was going to be. Some of these Slim Jims, like this one was like $5 because it has 2 things in it. Ludwig, I don't know how much they paid you to sponsor a Slim Jim bar, but I don't know. Could you, like, I don't know, take a sponsor to, like, for better food? I don't... Get a HelloFresh sponsorship. Be like everyone else. Get a Factor sponsorship, you know? What a beautiful, yum-tastic view into the world of Slim Jim. I'm never going to eat another Slim Jim again, and if I do, you can shoot me.
So those were all the jerky sticks that were available to us, but Slim Jim does sell some other different products, including their steakhouse jerky and bacon bites. The steakhouse jerky wasn't that great, wasn't terrible, but I was expecting more of a faithful Slim Jim flavor. The Bacon Bites flavor-wise were definitely more interesting. It was very much just bacon put in a dehydrator, but I would say it's a little too dried out, and it kind of tastes really plain. The bacon was probably not the highest quality. It makes it really dissatisfying. They also sell jerky bites that I believe are a more recent addition, but I couldn't find them anywhere online or in person. But I was able to find one of their discontinued items, the barbecue flavored pork rind chips. I've never had a pork rind that was in a chip form, so I decided to try out a different brand first to get a first impression. The only one I could find was from a company called Brims, and this might be a little off topic. This was probably one of the worst things I've ever eaten in my life. This was so horrendous, I thought it came from hell. The pork flavor feels like it's choking you, and oh my god, it's so stiff. And after eating like 3 chips, I got the worst heartburn. I had to lay down. It was so bad I thought I was gonna die. The Slim Jim pork rinds were so much better. They were a lot softer, and the barbecue flavor actually brought some complexity to the chip. Still a little gross though. I guess I just don't care for pork rinds in general. And that's all the Slim Jims I was able to get. And they were edible. Mostly. My original plan for this video was to rank all these flavors on a tier list, but after actually eating all the Slim Jims, they were all consistently whatever. I think the only jerky sticks that stood out were the original size Tabasco flavor for bringing an actual good flavor to the stick, as well as the mild and cheese for being the exact opposite. Besides those exceptions, Slim Jims are just not my thing. D tier. Well, that was a surprisingly difficult episode to make. I just hope Monica's boyfriend isn't sponsored by any other major food brands that are also probably not good for you. Hello and welcome back to Just Another Paid Promotion, where we give an honest and humorous review of popular sponsorships on the platform. Today we'll be reviewing the plant-based meal replacement company, Soylent. These videos are not sponsored, so it would really mean a lot if you upvote this post so I can get some more karma. Soylent is a food brand that was founded by Rob Reinhart. Starting in 2013, they're a company that sells these drinks and powders that apparently have a meal's worth of nutrients and vitamins. Basically, you don't have to stress about cooking healthy meals anymore. You just grab a bottle and start drinking away. They've sponsored quite a few YouTubers in the past, mostly on the gaming side of YouTube, which has made them become one of the most hated companies to ever become a sponsorship. Now, there are definitely some sponsors that are disliked by quite a few people, but I don't think there's as much universal hatred, or at least mockery, than towards Soylent. If you find a video that's sponsored by Soylent, chances that most of the comments are going to be making fun of or being disappointed in the creator for selling it, which isn't the best indication that people are actually going to buy the product.
Well, today's sponsor, Soylent, the world's most perfect food, has figured it out. Soylent is a complete nutrition brand with a science-based take on health and wellness. They've removed the barriers to health.
The biggest example of this, and the one that probably lives the most infamy, is the Soylent ad reads of Minecraft YouTuber Ant Venom. What originally just came off as a slightly silly, yet maybe slightly forced ad read, became the source of ridicule. People thought this ad integration was incredibly tone-deaf and corny, and they sure made that apparent. Even after Ant Venom removed any mention of Soylent from his channel, it became so notorious that there's videos talking about the single ad read, and if you look up Ant Venom on YouTube, or even just Google, Soylent is usually one of the highest results. This is probably one of the only times when taking a sponsorship left a permanent mark on someone's career. A major reason why Soylent gets a vigorous response from most people is due in part from its main ingredient, soy, which is a legume bean originating from Eastern Asia, but in the past century has become one of the most planted crops in the entire world.
Even though soy is an ingredient of many food products, at least in North America, it became a major ingredient for healthy alternatives, with it having a huge source of protein and other health benefits, which was a major reason why it was considered for the basis of Soylent. But recently, soy has definitely been under a lot more scrutiny. In fact, some newer health alternatives now labeled that they don't include soy. So its reputation as a healthy alternative has definitely spoiled in the past few years. And online, soy has definitely been used as an insult against a more weaker, nerdy type of person. In particular, its association with soy jacks, which Soylent has been heavily featured in. But soy isn't the only ingredient in Soylent. It's also filled with some of the most natural ingredients.
Soylent Green is made out of people.
Okay, I guess we gotta talk about this. Apparently Soylent got its name from the 1973 dystopian film Soylent Green, which in the film, Soylent Green is a meal replacement that's revealed to be made out of humans. It doesn't help that the film takes place only 9 years after Soylent was created.
This conversation with Governor Henry C. Santini is brought to you by Soylent Red and Soylent Yellow, and new delicious Soylent Green.
I can definitely see an executive thought this would be a cool idea on paper. However, not to sound crass, why would you name your food product after something that's made out of dead people, especially when you're making the same type of product? That's one of the most iconic reveals in film history. Most people probably only know the term Soylent because of that ending. That just makes what you're trying to sell more off-putting. It's like having a tech company named after Skynet. Oh, motherfucker! But even with all the baggage of Soylent, it's still something that interests me. I know it quite literally sounds something straight from a sci-fi film, but this has a lot of potential. Being able to hold an entire meal in the palm of your hand, it has about 1/5 of most vitamins and minerals a person needs, and about 400 calories per bottle, plus with a high protein count, it makes it pretty nutritious. And shockingly, it's not too overpriced. $3 to $4 per bottle may sound a lot for a single drink, especially when you're paying that in bulk. But compare that to the ever-growing prices of restaurants and groceries, this can be a life-changing product. So let's see if Soylent can actually be a true meal replacement. For an entire week, I'm only consuming products made by Soylent to know if they can truly be a substitute for real food, which is a challenge that no one else has ever attempted before. But wait a minute, if we're going to be doing this for an entire week, then we're going to have to find a place to drink all these. But where would we ever find a place like that? Huh. This is very familiar.
Jeez, Sir Greg. I was only gone for like 17 days. Where'd you even find this desk? Oh my god, it's covered in blood! I could not find any Sharpies, so I apologize for the lack of a tasting bag in this video, but welcome back to just another YouTuber doing a stupid weekly challenge. For the next 7 days, I'm going to be eating nothing but Soylent. The last meal I had before this was a really, really nice salad and a really delicious smoothie, so it'll be interesting to see if this can replace that. I hope I'm pointing at it. If not, it'll make it look like I'm really awkward. Alright, there's only one way we can do this. Oh, there's this little thing on here. It's creamy. It looks very creamy. It smells like milk. Bottoms up. Very chalky. It's creamy. It's very thick. There's no flavor. It's like a dusty flavor, but there's no actual flavor. It's not really, I don't really want to drink the rest of this. Yeah, it's not like, this isn't like disgusting, but it's not really like enjoyable either. It's kind of just like a really thick milk you eat after cereal. It's just like I don't like, it's a little nutty. It definitely has like some amount of oats in it. I guess that's the soybeans, but it tastes more like an almond or an oat milk. It doesn't really taste like soy that much.
Oh, it's getting worse. Oh. Actually, drinking this, it's not like the worst thing ever, but the aftertaste is just terrible. It lingers for quite a while, and it's just bad. It doesn't taste good. It's like eating chalk. It's not good. The aftertaste just lingers on too long, and it's just too chalky for its own good. It's not that great. Let's try the mint. Packaging just comes right off. Oh, it's brown. It looks like chocolate milk. That one's not bad. That one's not awful. Wait. Yeah, it's not awful, but it's not good either. Because this has mint, it actually tastes like something, but it's more definitely like darker mint. The aftertaste is still a little chunky, but because there's actual flavor here, it definitely tastes a lot better. But I still don't really want to drink the whole thing. Definitely not a great start. Ooh, oh my gut. Oh, it's hitting my gut. Oh, wait, I'm gonna record this, wait. I just stood up and it kind of just went into my system. Ooh. There's definitely there's certainly, whoa. It just hit the bottom of my gut, man. Whoa. Ooh. Oh. Definitely feel my stomach now.
Yeah, I guess I was expecting something more related to edamame, but it was more nutty and cereal-like. With it tasting really dry, even with the creamy texture, I couldn't even taste it out of the loose, which is something I've always been able to tell with other products I've reviewed. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever had, but the combination of the weird taste and the thick texture made it really hard to finish the mint flavor, and I couldn't even finish the original flavor. Not a good start for this challenge. For dinner, I decided to crack open the strawberry flavor. I was excited for this one the most. I love real strawberries, and I was expecting kind of a strawberry milkshake flavor, but I was actually let down by this drink. It has a slight strawberry flavor to it, and it definitely reminded me the most of a milk product, but it was so faint, and the chalky aftertaste and thickness were still very present, continuing to make this drink a little bit more off-putting. Yet, even with the weaker flavor, it made the Soylent somewhat better. I was able to finish this one a lot easier. Still not great, but more bearable than the original and mint flavor. Definitely the best flavor I had on day one.
It is October 14th, 2024. It is currently a Monday and the second day of this challenge. I'm just going to take a sip of this chocolate Soylent. Oh, God, there we go. Smells like chocolate. It tastes like Soylent with chocolate. Still a little chalky, but there's definitely chocolate in it. Honestly, as someone who doesn't like chocolate that much, this one's not bad at all. It's still not good, but honestly, this is the best one so far, which is a little shocking knowing my taste. All right, this is the vanilla. This one tastes a lot like milk. It's a little sweeter than the other ones. Not bad, not good, but not bad. Yeah, like this is not awful at all. But I don't think I would drink this again. But yeah, of all of them, I think these two so far are the best ones. I think they actually have some flavor to them. I don't know I would call them good, but honestly, I don't hate these. These are like whatever. Like they're not bad. The other ones I would say have been like slightly a negative experience. These ones I'm just like indifferent with. Like I could totally drink the rest of this today. It also kind of tastes a little bit like marshmallow a little bit. I think it's because of the aftertaste, which is definitely interesting, I guess. It still hits your gut in a weird way. It's kind of like having a stone dropping into your gut.
These two flavors were a little bit of a surprise to me. Even as someone who does not like chocolate that much, I think having two strong flavors as a base distracted from the Soylent aftertaste. I still prefer the vanilla, but both of these were probably the best ones I've had so far. After recording, I decided to open up Soylent's closest thing to real food, their plant-based complete snacks. And oh my gosh, I would have not been able to finish this challenge without these, and to be frank, they're probably the best things that Soylent makes. They're okay. The bars are a lot smaller than I was expecting. They're not even a full ounce. With them being really soft, it reminded me of slightly stale cookie dough, which made it quite easy to chew. I mostly ate the salted caramel and the peanut butter chocolate chip bars, and I think the latter was definitely the better one.
The chocolate chips bring a more unique texture compared to the salted caramel one, even if they barely look like chocolate chips. However, the chocolate brownie bar was whatever, at least for me. It wasn't able to win me over like the chocolate meal did. I'm just not really a big fan of brownies.
You're what?
But I can totally see someone actually liking this.
It is October 15th, 2024. It is currently a Tuesday and the third day of the Soylent Challenge. I was never really a big fan of banana when I was growing up, but as I've gotten older, I've quite loved it a lot, so I'm really interested to try out the banana flavor. Let's try this. Very much like banana. It tastes very much like a banana smoothie. Still tastes like very much like Soylent though, with that kind of nutty aftertaste. That's one of the better ones. Still not good, but honestly, this is probably the best one so far. The banana definitely overpowers a little bit of the Soylent flavor, but it's still present enough to be there. I still wouldn't call it great, but overall, I wouldn't even call it bad either. If you served this to me at like a restaurant and someone just poured this as like, oh, this comes with the breakfast, I would not be like surprised. I probably wouldn't ask for it again, but it's like, yeah, it's not bad at all. It's whatever.
I kind of want to talk about these bottles for a minute, which I swear I've seen this exact shape in either a video game or toy. I can't put my finger on it, but the texture definitely reminds me of a toy. It's made out of this plastic that's hard enough not to break, but still easy enough to squeeze, with the labeling coming off quite easily. Apparently it's all recyclable though, which I hope is true, and the graphic design is more modern, but I do kind of like the color-coordinated bottles. Also, they are thicker than I was expecting, at least towards the palm of your hand. It's a very interesting yet kind of cheap bottle. As what I ate for the rest of the day, it was more of the same, just some snack bars and another vanilla Soylent. A bit uneventful, but honestly, this challenge has been pretty easy so far. Nothing really terrible has happened yet. I think for the rest of the week, it's going to be pretty smooth sailing. This is when things started to get worse. I noticed my jaw feeling stiff. The snack bars are really soft, so you don't really need to chew them a lot, so I didn't really use my jaw a lot this week. And I also noticed some, I'll just say stomach problems?
It is day 4 of the Soylent Challenge. I think it's currently Wednesday, October 15th, 16th, 2024. I've kind of lost track of time. I'm about to try out the complete protein flavors. It has less calories than the other ones, and I think it has no sugar in this one. So I am definitely curious to try this one out. Caps are always... Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Whoa, that's way creamier than the other ones. It's really thick. Oh, the texture is the weirdest one out of them all. It's not as nutty as the other ones, but still very powdery. But it is very, very thick. Wait, let me try to feel it. Yeah, it's thick. Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't really drink this over the texture. It's just too weird. But let's try the chocolate one. Oh, it's creamy. Definitely a lot more chocolate than the other one. It's not awful, but it's too creamy. Both of these flavors are not awful. They're a little less Soylent than the other flavors, but they still have that very chalky aftertaste. But they're just too thick for my liking. It's just a very, oh my. Oh god, made me fucking British. Oh no, I'm all fucking bright again. And the thickness is just, I just don't like the thickness. It's too creamy. It's like a lot more like, what's the best way? It's kind of like a thicker soup, like really smooth soup, like kind of like a lentil soup. I wouldn't really drink these again.
Yeah, these protein shakes were something, I guess. But adding more to the workout-focused drinks, we have the Complete Energy. And the packaging looks almost identical from the chocolate protein. From a distance, I thought these two bottles were the same flavor. The major difference with the Complete Energy is that there's half of the protein and includes caffeine. And This is the worst flavor. This is so disgusting. It has the opposite problem with the protein drinks. It's so watered out. It makes it taste like it's chocolate flavored water. And it... oh god. Oh god. Oh. Okay. I understand that protein and energy drinks are more just for nutrition than taste. But all three of these flavors are so gross. Aren't the normal Soylents fine enough as protein drinks? If you're gonna work out, just stick with normal protein shakes.
Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Oh my god. That was the hardest quarter mile of my life. I gotta get home and play Minecraft. Oh, chocolate Soylent. Give me your energy. Oh
my god, this day was awful. To get the recommended daily calories and nutrients, you have to drink at least 5 bottles. And around this time, I could barely even drink 1. It really feels like you're drinking an entire meal in a bottle. It makes you so tired after drinking the whole thing. And it was so hard, I couldn't even put my lips on the bottle anymore. My body just did not want to keep drinking these. The weird nutty cereal aftertaste got to a point where I just want to... And I was running low on the salted caramel and the peanut butter chip bars, so I had to start rationing them. And because of that, I just felt sick for the entire day. I mostly either sat or lay down. It was just a miserable way to spend a day. But maybe these coffee Soylents can wake me up.
It is currently day 5 of the Soylent Challenge. I think it's Thursday. I'm about to try out these coffee Soylents. I'm not really a big fan of coffee, but lately I've been kind of feeling a lot more tired, so I think these will be a really good refresher for that. Let's try the Cafe Mocha. Maca. Mocha, maca, mocha, maca, mocha, maca, mocha, maca. Dun, 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 dun. I don't like coffee that much, but to tell you the truth, I think it kind of makes this better. I just think the Soylent flavor is not that great. This one is not bad. I think because how overpowering it is, it kind of washes away that Soylent flavor. As a non-coffee drinker, this one's actually not bad. All right, let's try. I'm really excited for this one. I actually like chai lattes. Even though I don't like coffee, I think chai lattes are okay. Oh my lord, I'm just spilling out of my mouth. Oh, I forgot the plastic. Cheers. Very thick. Definitely creamy. It kind of tastes like one of those creamers right next to the coffee machines at like people's jobs. They can just put in your coffee and you don't have to usually put them in the fridge. It kind of tastes like you're drinking just that straight, which it's definitely better than most of the Soylents, but it's definitely a unique flavor. It's the one that tastes the least Soylent. Like, I could probably finish this. This one's not bad. It's not good. Ladies. Oh, it's definitely my least favorite out of the coffees. It kind of tastes stronger than the normal coffee one, and it continues that trend where it just tastes more like a creamer than a coffee. Definitely the worst coffee.
Day 6 was another pain to get through. Still felt exhausted to do much of anything. So I decided to enjoy myself and log onto r/Soylent. There are a lot of good discussions here. Heads up for sales, comparisons to other meal replacements, people being sent to the ER, good stuff. Here's an interesting post. It talks about different containers to drink Soylent from. Oh, a mason jar, I got to try that. Wait a minute, I got this jar from the wrong message board.
I want to be done with this shit. I don't know what day it is anymore. Ugh.
Oh, no, he opened. That was really hard to swallow down. That was really hard to swallow down. It's definitely pumpkin spice. Like it's like there's pumpkin spice in this. It isn't like a recreation, like something like Magic Spoon where it's like recreating that flavor. It is just pumpkin spice. Definitely makes it taste better. I think this is one of the better ones still. I would say right below banana. The Soylent isn't as noticeable, but yeah, this one's whatever.
Yeah, I thought the pumpkin spice was one of the better ones. It does continue the trend with the better Soylents. The strong flavor overshadows the aftertaste and makes it more palatable. I would put it right behind the banana.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember anything. Why is there a pony in this jar? Alright, I just have to do today, and then I have one more meal tomorrow morning, and then I'll be done with this stupid challenge. Let's do this. This is the time I realized I was probably going to get worse if I didn't eat something real. So I decided to ignore my preferences and just eat the brownie bars, and I definitely felt a whole lot better. Which, yeah, eating something is better than just starving. Because of the energy the brownie bars gave me, I was able to have the willpower to drink another banana Soylent for lunch, but later in the day I decided to try out the powders, which includes dehydrated versions of the original chocolate Soylent, as well as both the protein flavors, working exactly like normal protein powder, with just needing to add water or any type of liquid, which you're able to mix in the Soylent themed cup, which is an extra charge of course. The powdered versions of the original chocolate protein flavors, I still didn't think these were that good, but I did think they were better than their bottle counterparts. However, I would say the opposite of each of their counterparts. These were disgusting. The original chocolate was just bad, but the vanilla protein was creamier and the flavor was nastier compared to its original version. Maybe I need to add more water or something, but the powder just tasted awful. These were definitely down there with some of the worst flavors of Soylent. I understand why someone considered picking these up instead of the usual bottles. They can be a lot cheaper in the long run, but they still contain that really weird Soylent aftertaste, and half of these are just worse than normal bottles. I would say stick to normal. Why in a hotel room?
This is the last day. This is the last meal. And I'm done. Oh, I feel lightheaded. Oh, I don't want to do this. It's the last one. Last one. This is the gingerbread one. Gingerbread. Get over this. Why is it so strong now? It's Soylent with ginger!
The gingerbread flavor was fine. It definitely tastes like you were drinking an entire gingerbread house, and it did cover the Soylent aftertaste pretty well, but it was such a weird and potent flavor. Gingerbread is just something I don't want to drink a lot of, or at least in this weird cream form. This is like in the middle of the pack of the Soylent flavors. Not bad at all, but yeah. And after an entire week, that was all the flavors of Soylent. And it very much was a strong experience.
This is fucking awesome! Oh my fucking god! Fuck this shit!
Soylent was not the worst thing I've ever had, but I never want to drink these ever again. To be fair, a lot of difficult parts of this challenge was more on my part. If I actually drank enough Soylents to fill up my nutrient requirements, I would have had an easier time. But Soylent made it so hard to do that.
Towards the end, I couldn't even drink a full one. Even with the best flavors, they often taste the least like the original Soylent flavor, or more like what they're trying to recreate, so Soylent is just not a good basis for a drink. The physical benefits were not worth it because it was just so soulless to drink. The snack bars were the only reason why I was able to finish this week. I will say Soylent, it did give me appreciation for actually eating real food. There is something special with actually just chewing food. And unless there's some better attempts in making an entire meal drinkable, as long as I have a working jaw, I don't mind chewing my food. With how contentious soy is, I'm surprised that the company hasn't made different versions with other plants and nuts, because I think it would have made a lot of these flavors more drinkable and much less laughable. As where I would rank Soylent, I want to compare it to another healthy alternative sponsor, Magic Spoon. With that, I think there were more bad flavors, but Soylent as a whole just made me feel lifeless.
Listen to me, Quagsire. You gotta tell them Soylent's a D tier! We gotta stop them! Somehow!